Chapter 44:30. You're really stupid. Madman sighed helplessly. Speak properly, others will attack you. Sea Lion's face darkened. You can't even speak the truth? Madman rolled his eyes and looked at Sea Lion. Brother Wolf means that Dong Qingyuan and the others will be found out sooner or later that you took us out of Kunpeng Sea region. When you were on the coast, you didn't expose your identity. How can you find me? Sea Lion was surprised. Madman looked at the sky speechlessly and pondered for a while before looking at Sea Lion. Let me ask you, will our whereabouts be exposed sooner or later? Definitely. None of you are good people. Sooner or later, you will cause chaos in the Central Dynasty. Sea Lion said. What did you say? Who's not good? White-eyed Wolf stared angrily. How dare he scold them so blatantly? Sorry. My tongue slipped and I accidentally spoke the truth. Sea Lion smiled flatteringly. White-eyed Wolf's mouth twitched and he kicked Sea Lion on the spot, causing Sea Lion to grimace in pain. Madman was also speechless. They didn't know each other for long, and this guy became so unscrupulous in front of them? Continue. Sea Lion looked at Madman and laughed dryly. Sorry, I'm not in the mood to talk now. Madman said indifferently. Don't be like this. Okay. I apologize to you. I'm not good, okay? The Sea Lion Demon King looked gloomy. Madman rolled his eyes and said helplessly, in the future, when Dong Qingyuan and the others find out that we have left Kunpeng Sea region, will they think that Kunpeng Sea region has been sealed by the Death God army? So why can we still leave Kunpeng Sea region? And without anyone knowing? Not only will they think, they will definitely investigate the reason. Sea Lion nodded. That's right. Not only will they investigate the reason, but they will also investigate the people, beasts, and sea beasts that left Kunpeng Sea region during this period. Madman said. The Sea Lion Demon King nodded thoughtfully. The Madman continued. Now is a special time. The Kunpeng Sea region has been sealed off. The Death God Legion that bears the heavy responsibility will definitely remember every living being that enters or exits the Kunpeng Sea region. Yes. The Sea Lion Demon King nodded again. Especially you. I think the Death God army has a special impression of you. Because you are a Demon King. With your status and strength in the Kunpeng Sea region, it would be difficult for them to forget you. And most importantly, you offended them before, so they will definitely remember you for the rest of their lives. When the time comes, once Dong Qingyuan and the others start investigating who has left the Kunpeng Sea area during this period of time, the Death God army will definitely think of you. This way, you will naturally become the target of investigation. The Madman smirked. The Sea Lion Monster King's eyes trembled when he heard this. You should be clear now. Once they find you, it'll be useless no matter how you quibble. Because the Death God army has seen with their own eyes that you indeed left the Kunpeng Sea region with 3 people today. Although we are pretending to be your subordinates, you have to know that Old Qin, Brother Wolf, and I happen to be 3 people. Today, you just happen to leave the Kunpeng Sea region with 3 subordinates. If they don't find you, they won't be suspicious. But once they have their eyes on you, they will definitely think that the 3 so-called subordinates beside you might be us. The Madman finished speaking in one breath and then looked at the Sea Lion Demon King mockingly. The Sea Lion Demon King's face turned pale. How is it? Do you still dare to return to the Kunpeng Sea region now? The white-eyed wolf grinned. The Sea Lion Demon King came back to his senses and looked up at the 3 of them with a face full of anger. He thought that he had already gotten off the pirate ship, but he didn't expect that not only did he not get off, he was tied up even tighter. Do you think we will give you 2 inheritances for no reason? We are not such generous people. The white-eyed wolf laughed. You are human. How can humans be so shameless? The Sea Lion Demon King roared, almost going crazy. You still blame us? It's your own greed, okay? If you were more resolute when we were about to reach the coast and would rather die than send us out of the Kunpeng Sea region, we wouldn't have been able to scheme against you. If that was the case, as long as we kept our mouths shut, they really wouldn't have found out about you because the Death God army didn't see you. But you just had to be greedy for these 2 inheritances. How is it? Are you regretting it now? You really want to throw away these 2 inheritances? The white-eyed wolf chuckled. The Sea Lion Demon King glared at Qin Feiyang and the other 2 angrily. Don't wait for me. I didn't scheme against you. It was senior brother and the white-eyed wolf who schemed against you. Qin Feiyang expressed his innocence. Although he had already seen through the white-eyed wolf and the madman's thoughts, he really didn't participate. You guys are simply too much of a scam. The Sea Lion Demon King was so angry that he squatted on the ground and cried bitterly. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other in dismay. Why was he still crying? No matter what, he was still a demon king who had grasped the will of the heavens, yet he was crying like a brat. How wronged was he? What should I do now? What demon emperor are you talking about? You can't even keep your life now. If Dongqing, Kuanpeng, and the dragon god really find out about me, even if I have 10 lives it won't be enough. A middle-aged burly man was really like a brat, crying loudly. This made Qin Feiyang and the other two feel a sense of guilt in their hearts. Suddenly, the Sea Lion Demon King raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two with tears in his eyes, saying, "You guys have to be responsible for me." This aggrieved look in his eyes caused Qin Feiyang and the other two to instantly have goosebumps. Responsible for you? Brother, you're just making things difficult for yourself. Hurry up and leave. Anyway, you've also obtained 2 inheritances, so it's not too bad. The white-eyed wolf quickly took a few steps back and waved his hand. What's the use of having more inheritances? The entire central dynasty is Kuanpeng dragon god, and Dongqing Yuan's people. Where can I hide? No, if you guys don't take responsibility for me, I won't let go. The Sea Lion Demon King shook his head and hugged the madman's thigh, acting shamelessly. The corner of the madman's mouth twitched as he said speechlessly, "No matter what, you are still a demon king. Can you not be so shameless? We have already fulfilled our promise to let you go and give you the inheritance. What else do you want? Do you think I want to do this? I was forced by you guys. Think of me, a demon king who dominates a region commanding billions of sea beasts. How impressive is that? Now I've been cheated by you guys to the point where I don't even have a place to stay. I shouldn't have believed your nonsense from the beginning. Sigh. I'm still too kind." The Sea Lion Demon King sighed. Kind? The madman shuddered as goosebumps appeared all over his body. Another shameless guy. How about this? You want to find a place to hide and fuse with the inheritance in seclusion. At the same time, you want to see if they will trace it back to you? Qin Feiyang comforted with a smile. If I hide, they will definitely suspect me even more. Don't. If they find me, I won't even have a chance to ask for help. The Sea Lion Demon King kept shaking his head like a rattledrum. The madman said angrily, "Then what do you want? Do you believe that I won't kill you? I've done so much for you guys and you still want to kill me? You are too inhumane. Doesn't your conscience hurt? Touch your conscience and ask yourself, are you still a human for doing this?" The Sea Lion Demon King said angrily. The corner of the madman's mouth twitched. This eloquence was quite amazing, cursing without using any vulgarities. All right. You can just follow us." The white-eyed wolf waved his hand impatiently. "You want to kill him, but this guy is crying and snot like a wronged little wife. You can't bear to kill him. But if you don't kill him, he is like a dog skin plaster. You can't get rid of him." Really? You can't just say it. If you want to be responsible, you have to be responsible until the end. The Sea Lion Demon King looked up at the 3 of them. Damn it, I really want to beat you up. The white-eyed wolf clenched his hands. How is this a demon king? He is simply a scoundrel. The Sea Lion Demon King grinned and finally let go of the madman's thigh. The madman wiped the snot and saliva on his pants in disgust. Since you want to follow us, you have to be mentally prepared in advance. Because you know our situation. The entire central dynasty is our enemy, and we can lose our lives at any time. Qin Feiyang said. Then what can I do? At least there is hope if I follow you guys. But if I return to the Kuanpeng Sea region, I will die. Let's talk about it later. Do you want to die? Of course not, you will definitely try your best to survive. As long as you can survive, won't I be fine? The Sea Lion Demon King chuckled. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. This guy is smart, but he has been schemed against by them several times, and he doesn't even know it. But if this guy is stupid, how can he say such smart words? His intelligence is a bit incomprehensible. Let's go. Qin Feiyong smiled and flew out of the mountain with the three of them. The madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at the sea lion demon king with disdain. What do you two mean? I am a demon king, do I have to be so disdainful? Go to the Kuanpeng Sea region and ask around. How many sea beasts are licking my face all day long to curry favor with me? I can't be bothered with them. The sea lion demon king could bear it at first, but in the end, he couldn't help it and said angrily, Demon king? The two of them sneered. I have never seen such a shameless demon king. Wait, there is a question. I am a little puzzled. The white-eyed wolf looked at the sea lion demon king's glabella and asked suspiciously, why did a divine light appear on your glabella when you changed back to your true form on the coast? And when the people of the death god army saw this divine light, they recognized your identity as a demon king. I'm not telling you. The sea lion demon king raised his head with a proud look. Can you not be so pretentious at such an old age? It's disgusting, you know? The white-eyed wolf was speechless. I am happy to. The sea lion demon king snorted and moved to Qin Feiyong's side. He bared his teeth and said, do you want to know too? I will tell you secretly, but don't tell those two bastards. Bastards? Qin Feiyong couldn't help but laugh. This demon king is getting more and more interesting. Chapter 44:31. It turned out that the mark between the sea lion demon king's eyebrows was called the demon king mark. The sea beasts of the Kuanpeng Sea region, as long as they became demon kings, would go to the Kuanpeng island to find the ruler of this sea region, Kuanpeng, and plant a demon king mark between their eyebrows. This mark was hidden between the eyebrows and would not appear unless necessary. And once it was planted, it would never dissipate unless the demon king died. It could be said that the demon king mark was something that the sea beasts of the Kuanpeng Sea region dreamed of obtaining because it represented extraordinary status and glory. In other words, the demon king mark was the identity token of the demon king. The white-eyed wolf asked curiously, do all the creatures of the central dynasty recognize your demon king mark? You actually eavesdropped? The sea lion demon king glared at the white-eyed wolf angrily. Get lost. Do I need to eavesdrop when you speak so loudly? The white-eyed wolf's face darkened. Even if it's loud, it's not for you to hear. The sea lion demon king snorted coldly. Are you looking for a beating? The white-eyed wolf's eyes turned cold. More and more? Was he challenging his limit? Seeing this, the sea lion demon king's attitude immediately changed. He laughed and said, it's just a joke. You took it seriously. Are you bored? The white-eyed wolf's mouth twitched. He was really a guy who knew how to take advantage of the situation. The sea lion demon king shook his head and said, actually, not all creatures recognize the demon king mark. After all, most of the creatures of the central dynasty are not qualified to come into contact with these things. So, only those with a little strength and a little status can recognize it? The white-eyed wolf asked. Yes. The sea lion demon king nodded and then said, I don't dare to say anything else, but those who have mastered the ultimate profound of the strongest law will definitely recognize the demon king mark. It seems that your demon king mark can be our pass to enter the city. The ingrate raised his head to look ahead and chuckled. While they were talking, the city outside the mountain had already appeared clearly in their line of sight. The city was very big. It was equivalent to tens of millions of people. Countless powerful auras could also be sensed within the city. Furthermore, it could be seen that the city gate was heavily guarded. Every single person that entered or exited the city had to be interrogated by the guards. There were a total of 10 guards in front of the city gate. Every one of them was serious in speech and manner, and their expressions were extremely cold. Why is there an interrogation? When I came here in the past, there wasn't any. The sea lion demon king looked at the crowd standing at the city gate, waiting to be interrogated. His face was full of suspicion. Not in the past. Madman was slightly taken aback as he turned to look at the sea lion demon king. Yes, that's because no outsiders have ever invaded the central dynasty other than you, so there's no need for such tight security. As the sea lion demon king spoke, he suddenly thought of something and shook his head. No, someone is invading. Who is it? Madman was bewildered. Who else could it be other than them? Qin Badian. The sea lion demon king enunciated each word clearly. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other, and suddenly realized that they were talking about this mysterious young man. However, he really had to admit that this young man was really powerful. Because all the creatures in the Central Dynasty were considered the eyes of the emperor. If it was someone else, they would have been caught by the emperor long ago and chopped into pieces. However, this young man had been in the Central Dynasty for so long and still hadn't been found. The Sea Lion Demon King suddenly seemed to have thought of something. Looking at Qin Feiyang, he asked in a low voice, "There are rumors that this Qin Batian is your ancestor. Is this true? What do you think?" Qin Feiyang asked back. "How would I know?" The Sea Lion Demon King was speechless. If he knew, why would he ask? Qin Batian is indeed my ancestor, but this Qin Batian... At this point, Qin Feiyang's face was filled with helplessness. What's wrong with this Qin Batian? The Sea Lion Demon King was suspicious. Don't just say half the words. Isn't this deliberately leaving people hanging? Nothing. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled. Seeing that they had reached the city gate, he turned his head to look at the Sea Lion Demon King and said respectfully, "Sir Demon King, please wait here. I will open the way for you." The Sea Lion Demon King's mouth couldn't help but twitch when he heard this. He said it as if it was true. Qin Feiyang pinched his throat, cleared his throat, looked up at the people in front of him and shouted, "Get out of my way." Huh. As soon as these words came out, Qin Feiyang immediately became the focus of the crowd. The 10 guards couldn't help but be taken aback. They looked up at Qin Feiyang, and a cold light flashed in their eyes. "What are you still standing here for? Didn't you hear? Hurry up and get out of our way." Frenzy and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and shouted at the top of their lungs. "Who are you? How dare you be arrogant in our Green Wind City?" The others didn't say anything, but the 10 guards were extremely unhappy. "Who did you say was arrogant? Try saying it again." The white-eyed wolf stared at the 10 people, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. The 10 of them felt a sense of danger. Make way, make way." Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, and Frenzy walked in front with a cold face. They arrogantly pushed the people in front of them and opened a path for the Sea Lion Demon King. "Presumptuous!" The 10 guards shouted, and killing intent surged in their eyes. "You are the presumptuous ones. Do you know who is standing in front of you?" The white-eyed wolf snorted, full of arrogance. The 10 guards looked at the Sea Lion Demon King with a trace of suspicion in their eyes. One of the guards said with a sullen face, "No matter who you are, you have to follow the rules and line up at the back." "Line up? You want our Demon King to line up?" The white-eyed wolf laughed angrily. "What? Demon King?" The onlookers were shocked and looked at the Sea Lion Demon King. The 10 guards did the same. The corner of the Sea Lion Demon King's mouth kept twitching. "You sure know how to act. Why don't you become an actor?" Ahem. Since they had already flattered him to this extent, he could only cooperate with the 3 of them and show a proud expression. "Are you really a Demon King?" A guard carefully stepped forward and looked at the Sea Lion Demon King. Yes. The Sea Lion Demon King nodded. Boom. The next moment, a dazzling golden light rushed out from his forehead. Immediately after, a thumb-sized mark appeared. It was golden as if it was cast from gold leaf, and the shape was like a young Kuan Peng. This is the mark given by the divine beast Kuan Peng to the Demon King of the Kuan Peng Sea region. He really is a Demon King. The 10 guards' eyes trembled, and they hurriedly bowed and said, "Greetings, Demon King. We didn't mean to offend you, please forgive us." No need for formalities. The Sea Lion Demon King waved his hand, and the mark between his eyebrows also disappeared. In the eyes of the humans of the Central Dynasty, Demon Kings also had a pivotal position. After all, they were existences that controlled the will of the heavenly Tao. "Thank you, Demon King." The 10 guards secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The white-eyed wolf looked at the 10 of them arrogantly and sneered. "Do you still dare to say that we're arrogant now?" "No, no." The 10 of them hurriedly shook their heads and smiled flatteringly. "Humph." The white-eyed wolf snorted, looked at the people in front of the city gate, and shouted, "Why aren't you getting out of here?" As soon as he said this, the people in front immediately scattered and retreated to the sides. The white-eyed wolf nodded in satisfaction, turned to the Sea Lion Demon King, and bowed, "My lord, please." "Okay. The Sea Lion Demon King nodded and strode toward the city gate. Qin Feiyang and the other two followed closely behind the Sea Lion Demon King. Seeing this, a guard hurriedly looked at his companion and said, "They haven't been interrogated yet." "Shut up. The other party is a demon king, what are you still investigating?" "Yes, after all, a demon king is not someone we can offend. For an existence like him, even if he kills us in public, the city lord won't say anything," the other 9 guards said one after another. Qin Feiyang and the other two followed behind the Sea Lion Demon King, and smoothly entered Green Wind City. Is he really a demon king? Didn't you see those 10 guards? They were all respectful to him, how could it be fake? But why would a demon king come to our Green Wind City? For an existence like him, if he wants to go, he would definitely go to Tianxian City, Tianyue City, Tianyang City, and other large cities. Along the way, the pedestrians on the street all looked at the Sea Lion Demon King with suspicion. Now this is great. Although we escaped the guards' interrogation and successfully entered Green Wind City, we also became the focus of attention. The Sea Lion Demon King looked at the crowd around him and speechlessly transmitted his voice to Qin Feiyang and the other two. "Isn't this the only way to show your prestige?" The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. The Sea Lion Demon King smiled bitterly. Awe-inspiring. What was the difference between him and a stray dog now? He really knew how to tell jokes. Now shouldn't we be more low-key? He didn't understand why Qin Feiyang and the other two dared to be so high-profile. Were they not afraid of their identities being exposed? Chapter 44-32. Low Profile. Madman was taken aback for a moment before asking suspiciously, "Why do we need to keep a low profile?" "Because Dong Qingyuan and the others are chasing after you," Sea Lion said. "Yes, but so what?" The white-eyed wolf sneered. He didn't take it to heart at all. Sea Lion had a bitter look on his face. Why was he so unlucky to encounter these 3 lawless people? "If you want to follow us, you have to learn our style." The white-eyed wolf chuckled. "Learn from you?" Sea Lion smiled bitterly. He didn't dare to learn this style of courting death, because if he learned it, he might lose his life one day. When those guards saw your Demon King mark, they no longer doubted your identity. It seems that they have grasped the ultimate law and have seen a lot of things. Madman said. Sea Lion nodded. However, the guards of a city have mastered ultimate profundities of ultimate laws. Aren't the people from the Central Dynasty a little too terrifying? Also, I seem to have heard someone say something about Tianxian City, Tianyu City, and Tianyang City. What's the difference between these cities? Madman looked at Sea Lion suspiciously. Of course they're different. Sea Lion nodded. His expression became serious as he secretly explained. There are a total of 10 super-large cities in the Central Dynasty. Tianxian City, Tianyu City, and Tianyang City are one of them. Super-large cities, Madman murmured, his eyes filled with curiosity. It can even be said that the status of these 10 super-large cities in the Central Dynasty is only second to Emperor City Mountain. Although I'm the Demon King of the Kunpeng Sea region, once I enter these 10 cities, I won't dare to act presumptuously. Sea Lion said. Why are the status of these 10 cities so high? Madman was puzzled. Because in these 10 super-large cities, there is a direct descendant family. Sea Lion said. Direct descendant family. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other. The brothers Dong Xian and Dong Tianchen came from a direct descendant family. Moreover, the family behind them had no less than 500 powerhouses who grasped the will of heaven. One could imagine. How terrifying were these direct descendants? But now the Sea Lion Demon King told them that there was a direct descendant family in each of these 10 cities. That was to say, there were a total of 10 clans in the Central Dynasty. Was the population so prosperous? The 10 great clans are actually the rulers of the 10 great super cities. They control all the resources in the city. It's also because the 10 main families are all close relatives of the emperor. Even the Kunpeng and the Dragon God have to give them some face. Sea Lion thought to himself. I see. Madman nodded. In short, the 10 great lineal clans are all powerful existences. Even the 10 great demon emperors of the Kunpeng Sea region dare not provoke them, let alone a demon king like me. The Sea Lion Demon King shook his head. His eyes were filled with awe towards the top 10 families. Covering the sky with one hand? I think they're just relying on the backing of the sovereign of the divine kingdom to intimidate others. The white-eyed wolf sneered. Ugh! The sea lion demon king looked at the white-eyed wolf in astonishment. Intimidating others? How dare they say that? Which of the top 10 clans didn't have hundreds of powerhouses with the will of the heavenly Tao? Although they did have the backing of the sovereign, the strength of the major clans couldn't be denied. What about the lineal clans? The white-eyed wolf asked. There are many lineal clans. There are a total of 56. They each control a city and are very powerful. The sea lion demon king smiled. What about the side clans? The white-eyed wolf asked again. There are naturally more side clans, but no one has specifically counted them. Like now, the people we see on the street all belong to the side clans. The sea lion demon king said. The madman and the white-eyed wolf scanned the pedestrians coming and going on the street. They were extremely incredulous. This Dong family actually had such a large clan. Even if these people were only side clans, they were still clans under the Dong family. They had seen many clans with large populations. But it was hard to accept that the people of the entire continent were all from the same clan. This made them wonder if the Dong family was a breeding machine that specialized in giving birth to children. The divine kingdom has a long history and has existed for countless years. It's actually not a big deal for the Dong family to have so many clans. After all, the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan, which we are familiar with, also has many clans. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. He was still relatively calm. Alright. Just take it as an eye-opener. The white-eyed wolf smiled bitterly. The madman chuckled and turned to Qin Feiyong. He joked. It seems that the Qin family still has to work hard. The true direct descendants of the Qin clan, including Emperor Hong, Emperor Chan, Emperor Xian, Qin Feiyong, Qin Haotian, and Qin Feiyong's 7 younger brothers and sisters. Even if Qin Batian and the Feather Emperor were counted, there were only 14 of them. After tens of thousands of years of reproduction, there were only 14 direct descendants left. No one would believe this if they told others. If it were any other family head, they could have at least tens of thousands of people or even hundreds of thousands of clans. It was no wonder that Emperor Hong and Emperor Chan were so anxious, urging Qin Feiyong to give birth to a child, urging Qin Haotian to get married, and even wanted to set up a harem for Qin Haotian. This was because the Qin clan had too few people and they were anxious. Hearing the madman's words, Qin Feiyong couldn't help but smile bitterly. Compared to the Dong family of the Central Dynasty, the people of the Qin bloodline were pitifully few. Little Qin Zi, since you don't want to carry on the family line, why don't you give birth to a son first, and let him make babies every day, every night? I believe that sooner or later, your Qin family will catch up with the Dong family here. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Get lost. Qin Feiyong's face darkened. How could he give birth to a son just to make babies? Besides, he didn't want to carry on the family line? No, he didn't have the energy to take care of children now. The sea lion demon king looked at Qin Feiyong, then suddenly looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf, and asked, from what you said, are there very few people in the Qin clan? I can count them with 2 hands. How many do you think there are? The madman chuckled. The sea lion demon king was stunned and asked again, how many years has the Qin clan existed? The madman said, counting from their ancestor, Qin Batian, it's been more than 10,000 years. No way. More than 10,000 years. And there are only so few clansmen. The sea lion demon king was stunned. He couldn't help but look at Qin Feiyong and ask seriously, is the Qin family weak in that aspect? What aspect? Qin Feiyong didn't understand. It's this aspect. The madman and the white-eyed wolf pointed at Qin Feiyong's lower body. Their faces already flushed red. When Qin Feiyong heard this, his veins suddenly bulged, gritting his teeth and staring at the sea lion demon king. Don't be angry. In fact, this kind of thing can't be forced. After all, some people are born weak and nothing works. The sea lion demon king waved his hand. He had thought that it was because he had guessed correctly that Qin Feiyong was enraged from embarrassment. He even started to comfort Qin Feiyong, causing Qin Feiyong to nearly go berserk. Who can't do it? Do you want to let one of your sisters try? See my man's manliness? Haha, Looking at Qin Feiyong, who was about to collapse, the madman and the white-eyed wolf couldn't help but laugh. This sea lion demon king was really the best. He could even say such words. Wasn't he deliberately trying to attack Qin Feiyong? The pedestrians around couldn't help but look at the madman and the white-eyed wolf suspiciously. Why did these two suddenly laugh so happily? I'll endure it. Qin Feiyong took a deep breath, calmed the anger in his heart, glared fiercely at the sea lion demon king, and walked towards a restaurant not far away. Why is he so unreasonable? I'm just comforting him. The sea lion demon king looked at Qin Feiyong's back and sighed helplessly. Who told you to guess his sore spot? He must be angry. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. So I guessed right? The sea lion demon king was stunned. Yes. He's just born weak. If you have the chance, you can help him. I believe that when the time comes, he will definitely thank you for a lifetime. The white-eyed wolf held back his laughter and patted the sea lion demon king's shoulder. Remember to help him. The madman also patted the sea lion demon king's shoulder and laughed. Then the two turned around and chased after Qin Feiyong. When they turned around, they couldn't help but laugh. This sea lion demon king was really too interesting, making them laugh until tears came out of their eyes. The sea lion demon king looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf, and then looked at Qin Feiyong's back. He shook his head with sympathy and sighed. Sigh, how pitiful. As a man, how can he be weak? Don't worry, for the sake of the two inheritances, this king will help you solve this problem and let you regain your manliness. The sea lion demon king murmured and followed them to the restaurant. Chapter 44-33. In the restaurant. In the hall. Qin Feiyong and the other three were sitting around the table. As soon as the waiter of the restaurant brought the food and wine, a young man in luxurious clothes rushed in. Isn't this the young city lord of our Green Wind City? Everyone was surprised. The young city lord had a noble status. Why would he come to such a small restaurant? This restaurant was indeed very small. There were only a dozen tables in the hall, and it was very shabby. The only gratifying thing was that although the place was small, it was very clean. The young man in luxurious clothes glanced at the people in the hall, and his eyes were directly locked on the sea lion demon king. He then walked to the side of the sea lion demon king and bowed. Greetings, Lord Demon King. So he's here for the Demon King. Everyone murmured. You are? The sea lion demon king turned his head and looked at the young man in luxurious clothes suspiciously. The young man in luxurious clothes said, Lord Demon King, this junior is Ji Xiaowu, the young city lord of Green Wind City. Ji Xiaowu? Qin Feiyong and the other two were taken aback. How could there be a different surname in the Central Dynasty? Shouldn't the people here all have the surname Dong? However, the sea lion demon king seemed to be used to it and asked faintly, What's the matter? I received a message from the guard saying that Lord Demon King has entered my Green Wind City. So Lord Father immediately asked this junior to come and invite you to his mansion. Ji Xiaowu smiled. The sea lion demon king was taken aback and asked suspiciously, What do you mean? Why did he invite him to the city lord mansion when he was not related to him? Lord, don't misunderstand. Lord Father just wants to be a good host. Ji Xiaowu said. So he's here to curry favor with me. The sea lion demon king smiled secretly, looked at Qin Feiyong and the other two and asked, What do you think? Since he has personally invited us, how can we refuse? But I don't think the father and son want to be a good host. Qin Feiyong laughed secretly. Huh. The sea lion demon king was surprised. Look carefully, there's a trace of worry between his eyebrows. Qin Feiyong said. When the sea lion demon king heard this, he looked up at Ji Xiaowu. Seeing the sea lion monster king look over, Ji Xiaowu immediately put on a flattering smile. But even so, he was unable to conceal the worry between his eyebrows. That's true. The sea lion demon king mumbled. He hadn't noticed it before. You're not thinking of harming us, are you? Suddenly, his pupils shrank. Against us? Qin Feiyong the lunatic and the white-eyed wolf were all speechless. You are a demon king. How dare a mere city lord harm you? Wasn't he just digging his own grave? Ha! The sea lion demon king laughed inwardly. He looked at the young man and said, All right, I happen to be free anyway. I'll go with you to the city lord's mansion. Thank you, Lord Demon King. Ji Xiaowu's face was filled with joy. He hurriedly took out several hundred divine crystals, looked at the clerk next to him and asked, "Are these enough to pay the bill?" "Enough, enough, enough." The shop assistant nodded repeatedly and stepped forward to receive the divine crystals. "Lord Demon King, please." Ji Xiaowu retreated to the side, his expression extremely respectful. The Sea Lion Demon King got up and swaggered out of the restaurant. Qin Feiyang and the other two followed closely behind. Ji Xiaowu caught up and looked suspiciously at Qin Feiyang and the other two. He asked curiously, "Lord Demon King, these three lords are?" "They are my subordinates, the future Demon King." The Sea Lion Demon King said indifferently. "The future Demon King." Ji Xiaowu was shocked. For the Sea Lion Demon King to say such words, it could be seen that the strength and status of these three people were. He hurriedly bowed and said, "Junior greets the three lords." Qin Feiyang and the other two nodded indifferently. After a while, a huge mansion entered their line of sight. The mansion was located in the central area of the city. The tall walls of the courtyard and the imposing buildings were all out of the ordinary. Outside the door, a group of guards stood upright, holding sharp blades in their hands. Their eyes were cold and their bodies exuded a murderous aura. Right above the door, there were three large words written in iron hook silver. City Lord's Mansion. Greetings, young City Lord. The group of guards saw Ji Xiaowu coming and bowed to salute. Thank you for your hard work. Ji Xiaowu smiled slightly, pointed to the Sea Lion Demon King and said, "This is the Senior Demon King from the Kunping Sea region. The three besides Senior are also the future Demon Kings of the Kunping Sea region. Greetings to the four lords." The group of guards heard this and bowed respectfully. The Sea Lion Demon King nodded. "Senior, please." Ji Xiaowu pointed to the door. The Sea Lion Demon King looked up at the door of the City Lord's mansion and stepped forward, leading Qin Feiyang and the other two into the City Lord's mansion. It was worth noting that, before entering the City Lord's mansion, Qin Feiyang looked at the group of guards outside the door, and a trace of suspicion flashed in his eyes. What's going on? Why is the security so tight? Generally speaking, in a place like the City Lord's mansion, there were usually 3 or 4 guards guarding the door at most. But now, there were dozens of guards here. Moreover, after entering the City Lord's mansion, he found that inside the mansion, there was also a guard every 3 steps and a sentry every 7 steps. It was as if they were facing a great enemy. "For lords, this way, please." After passing through 3 corridors and 2 gardens, they finally arrived at their destination. In front of them was a magnificent hall. A group of people stood in front of the hall waiting for them. The leader was a middle-aged man, wearing a gorgeous robe with a square face, a rather burly figure, and a domineering aura all over his body. The other 10 people were a group of old people, men and women, and the aura they exuded was quite extraordinary. Similarly, there seemed to be a trace of worry between these people's eyebrows. Lord Demon King. Seeing Qin Feiyang and the other 3 coming over, the square-faced man immediately greeted them with a smile. "You are?" The Sea Lion Demon King stopped and looked at the square-faced man suspiciously. "Senior. He is Junior's father, Ji Daxiong. The others are also the consecrators of my City Lord's mansion." Ji Xiaowu hurriedly stepped forward and introduced them one by one. Consecrators? Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were taken aback. Why was this popular in the Central Dynasty? "So it's the City Lord. I've heard a lot about you." The Sea Lion Demon King nodded and looked at Ji Daxiong with a smile. "I wouldn't dare." Ji Daxiong hurriedly waved his hand, turned around, and retreated to the side with a smile. "The banquet has been prepared, Lord, please come in." "The banquet has been prepared?" The Sea Lion Demon King looked inside the hall and joked. "It seems that you are sure that I will come to your City Lord's mansion." No, I'm just prepared." Ji Daxiong smiled. "Haha." The Sea Lion Demon King laughed and led Qin Feiyang and the other 2 into the hall. Ji Daxiong looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 2 suspiciously and said, "Xiaowu, who are the 3 people behind the Demon King?" "They are the Demon King's subordinates, and this Demon King said that these 3 people are the future Demon King." Ji Xiaowu thought, "Future Demon King." Ji Daxiong and the 10 consecrators looked at each other. A trace of shock appeared in their eyes. and then they hurriedly followed into the hall. Inside the hall, the decorations were luxurious. There were all kinds of rare treasures. Even the dining table and chairs were made of rare jade. On the table, there were all kinds of delicacies. The white-eyed wolf and Frenzy sniffed and immediately stared at the wine jugs on the table, their eyes shining. With their many years of experience in drinking, as long as they smelled the wine, they could tell that these wine jugs were filled with divine wine. So sumptuous? Don't tell me it's a hangmen banquet. The Sea Lion Demon King laughed. Lord Demon King really knows how to joke. Ji Daxiong shook his head, walked to the side, pointed to the main seat, and said with a smile, "Lord, please sit." Seeing that it was the main seat, the Sea Lion Demon King waved his hand and said, "I don't dare to overshadow the host." After saying that, he walked to a chair and sat down. Qin Feiyang and the other two sat on the left and right sides of the Sea Lion Demon King. Ji Daxiong was stunned. He didn't expect this Demon King to be so particular. Generally speaking, existences like the Demon King would definitely sit on the main seat no matter where they went. After all, this was a world where strength was respected. If you were weak, even if you were the master of the house, you would have to give way. When he came back to his senses, Ji Daxiong sat on the main seat and called the 10 consecrators to sit. Then he looked at Ji Xiaowu and said with a smile, "Xiaowu, hurry up and pour wine for Lord Demon King." "Okay." Ji Xiaowu nodded, picked up a wine jug, ran to the Sea Lion Demon King and poured a cup of divine wine. He then ran in front of Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang reached out and covered the wine cup, shook his head and said, "I don't need it." "No need." Ji Xiaowu was stunned. Ji Daxiong also quickly looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Does Lord dislike this wine? How is he disliking it?" "He doesn't like to drink." "Don't force him." The madman and the white-eyed wolf grinned. They each took a wine jug and began to drink with their heads tilted back. "So he doesn't like to drink. You really scared me. I thought Lord didn't like this wine." Ji Daxiong shook his head and smiled. The 10 consecrators next to him also smiled apologetically. "Not bad." The white-eyed wolf nodded, turned his head to look at Ji Xiaowu and laughed. "Another jug? It's finished?" Ji Xiaowu was stunned. It was finished in the blink of an eye. That was too fast. "Just this? It's not enough to fill the gaps between my teeth." The white-eyed wolf smiled proudly. Ji Xiaowu came back to his senses and smiled bitterly. "Senior is really good at drinking." With that, he ran directly to the side hall of the main hall, carried a dozen jugs of divine wine, and placed them beside the white-eyed wolf. "That's more like it." The white-eyed wolf nodded with a face full of smiles. Just the wine in the jug was not enough to quench his thirst for wine. Seeing the white-eyed wolf drinking so happily, Ji Daxiong and the 10 consecrators looked at each other, a smile creeping onto their faces. They were afraid that they would not treat him well. After 3 rounds of wine, Qin Feiyang put down the chopsticks in his hand, looked up at Ji Daxiong and said lightly, "I see that the city lord is feeling quite uncomfortable holding it in. Why don't you just say it?" "Ah." Ji Daxiong looked at Qin Feiyang. The 10 consecrators also looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. This person's perception was too strong. He could see that they had something on their minds. Frenzy drank as he said, "Don't treat us as fools. Before we came to the city lord's mansion, we already knew that you should have something to ask us." The group couldn't help but look at Frenzy. Before entering the city lord's mansion, he already knew. His observation skills were truly terrifying. Chapter 44-34. The Sea Lion Demon King also put down his chopsticks and said indifferently, "Speak. Don't waste everyone's time." "Okay." Ji Daxiong nodded and immediately put down his bowl and chopsticks. Looking at Qin Feiyang and the others, he stood up and said respectfully, "This time, I invited the 4 of you here because I have a request. See, there is indeed no free lunch in the world." The white-eyed wolf sneered. The Sea Lion Demon King's eyes also flickered with a cold light. "Sir, please calm down. I really didn't mean to deceive you, but this matter is too important. I don't have full confidence, so I thought of using this method to get close to the 4 of you." Ji Daxiong hurriedly explained. "What important matter?" This time it aroused the curiosity of Qin Feiyang and the others. Ji Daxiong said, "It concerns the future fate of the City Lord Mansion." So serious? Is someone coming to kill you? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. No. But it's almost the same. There is a family that wants to annex our Green Wind City and make us work for them. We definitely don't want to, because in this way, the resources of our Green Wind City will be given to them. Ji Daxiong sighed. Annexation? Qin Feiyong and the others were stunned. This kind of thing is very common. For example, the 10 great direct descendant clans. Although their headquarters are in the 10 great super cities, there are still many cities outside that depend on them. The Sea Lion Demon King transmitted his voice. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyong and the others suddenly understood. This Green Wind City is just a small city. The 10 families naturally don't like it, but it doesn't mean that other families don't like it. Moreover, in order to seize control of these cities, the major families often fight openly and secretly. The Sea Lion Demon King said again. Aren't we all family? Is there a need to fight over it? Madman was speechless. So what if we are family? Look at Great Qin. Those princes who died in the past were all brothers with little Qin Zi. What happened in the end? For a bit of selfishness and ambition, they made use of each other and killed each other. Who cares about kinship? Even the small Qin clan is like this, let alone such a big Dong clan. White-eyed Wolf thought to himself. He had seen too many of such incidents, and he was already numb to them. Qin Feiyong looked up at Ji Daxiong and asked suspiciously, Who wants to annex you? Dong Tianxiang, the head of a branch family. Ji Daxiong said. His eyes filled with hatred. Collateral family? Dong Tianxiang. Never heard of him, right? He shouldn't be a big shot. The white-eyed wolf pouted. Ah, you don't even know Dong Tianxiang? Ji Daxiong was stunned. What do you mean? Is he very powerful? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. Ugh! Ji Daxiong looked at the white-eyed wolf in astonishment. Then he patted his head and smiled. You four were in the Kuanpeng Sea area before. It's not strange that you don't know. Isn't it just a collateral family? You are actually afraid of them? This is really an eye-opener. We are not interested in a mere collateral family. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. If it was a direct family or a direct family, they might be interested. Hearing this, Ji Daxiong, Ji Xiaowu, and the 10 consecrators could not help but feel anxious. Don't say any more. If you say any more, I will be angry. Don't disturb me from drinking. The white-eyed wolf waited for the group of people. Looking at the resolute white-eyed wolf, the group of people suddenly fell into deep despair. Suddenly, plop! Ji Xiaowu actually knelt on the ground and begged, Sirs, I beg you, please help us. We are truly at the end of our rope. Xiaowu! Ji Daxiong looked at his son in shock. Of course he knew his son the best. Although his talent was not very good, he was born a very competitive person and would never kneel to others easily. Lord Father, we have no other choice. Ji Xiaowu sighed and looked at Qin Feiyong and the other 3. We have already given up struggling, but previously, we suddenly heard that a monster king had entered our Green Wind City, so we shamelessly went to find you. Junior knows that this is a bit presumptuous, but we are really desperate. I hope that the 4 seniors will help us. Junior will kowtow to you. Ji Xiaowu exclaimed and then kowtowed one after another. Soon, his forehead was badly mutilated and blood flowed all over the ground. Looking at this scene, Ji Daxiong's heart ached. Plop! Suddenly, he also knelt on the ground and looked at the 4 of them. I beg the 4 lords, please help us. Madman frowned. Why don't you go find other families to help you? Who can we find? For this kind of thing, even if we go find the emperor, it will be useless. Ji Daxiong sighed. What's the situation? The white-eyed wolf looked at the Sea Lion Demon King in surprise. This kind of territorial dispute is too common in the Central Dynasty. As long as it doesn't get to the point where people are in a terrible situation and blood flows like a river, the emperor will not care. In other words, the emperor acquiesces to this kind of thing. Those who encounter this kind of thing can only rely on themselves. The Sea Lion Demon King transmitted his voice. So that's how it is. The white-eyed wolf suddenly understood. It seemed that the living environment of the Central Dynasty was also quite cruel. Then, the white-eyed wolf looked at Ji Xiaowu and said with a cold face, Stop kowtowing, a grown man, don't you feel ashamed? But then again, This Ji Xiaowu was still considered responsible. For his family, for the city lord's mansion, he was able to bow and submit. Lord, I beg you, Ji Xiaowu turned a deaf ear. Not only did he not stop, but he also used more and more strength. All right. Get up first, let's ask about the situation first. The white-eyed wolf waved his hand helplessly. Thank you, Lord. Although he did not explicitly agree, as long as there was room for negotiation, there was still hope. Is this Dong Tianxiang very strong? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Not strong, he has only mastered 2 ultimate mysteries of the strongest law. Ji Xiaowu got up and shook his head. What? 2 ultimate mysteries of the strongest law. The white-eyed wolf was stunned, turning his head to look at Ji Daxiong and the 10 consecrators, frowning. I think your strength should not be weak. Can't you deal with such a small character? Of course it's easy to deal with Dong Tianxiang. But we can't touch the person behind Dong Tianxiang. Ji Daxiong sighed. The person behind? The white-eyed wolf was slightly taken aback and said disdainfully, what kind of backer can a patriarch of a side family have? Yes. And his backer is not ordinary. Dong Tianxiang's backer is one of the 5 unparalleled geniuses of our central dynasty. Dong Hanzong. Ji Daxiong said in a deep voice. Dong Hanzong. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 suddenly stood up, their eyes shining. They really did not expect it to be Dong Hanzong. You know Dong Hanzong too? The Sea Lion King secretly asked. Nonsense. Dong Hanzong has been to the 4 great continents and fought with us. How can we not know? Frenzy rolled his eyes. The Sea Lion Demon King smiled awkwardly. Looking at the reaction of Qin Feiyang and the other 2, Ji Daxiong carefully asked, the 4 of you, are you afraid of Dong Hanzong? Nonsense. Dong Hanzong is ranked first among the 5 unparalleled geniuses, and he has mastered the Qian Kuan domain. Not to mention a monster king like me, even Lord Kuanping has to be wary of him. The Sea Lion King's face was solemn. This was not a joke. He was indeed frightened. As a monster king, how could he not know Dong Hanzong's strength? It was not an exaggeration to say that he was invincible. Ji Daxiong heard this and smiled bitterly. Sure enough, even a monster king did not dare to go against Dong Hanzong. So what if he is Dong Hanzong? The white-eyed wolf sneered and looked at Ji Daxiong. We will help you. What? Ji Daxiong, Ji Xiaowu, and the 10 consecrators looked at the white-eyed wolf in disbelief. The Sea Lion King was also shocked. What was wrong with this golden-winged wolf king? Wasn't he not interested before? Why did he become so full of fighting spirit when he heard that it was Dong Hanzong? Let me tell you, if it wasn't Dong Hanzong, I really wouldn't be interested, but since it is Dong Hanzong, I must play with him. The white-eyed wolf laughed secretly. But his strength, we really can't afford to offend him. The Sea Lion King was worried. Useless. The white-eyed wolf looked at Ji Daxiong with disdain and said, You didn't hear wrong, we have decided to help you. The group of people looked at each other and were overjoyed. They bowed and said, Thank you for lords. Cough cough. The Sea Lion King coughed and braced himself. You're welcome, you're welcome. In fact, he wanted to cry in his heart. Of all the people to provoke, why did he have to provoke Dong Hanzong? Wasn't this just courting death? Madman asked. Who is Dong Tianxiang to Dong Hanzong? Second uncle. Dong Hanzong's parents died early. As for how they died, I don't know. But it seems that someone was jealous of Dong Hanzong's talent and was killed. Therefore, Dong Tianxiang can be considered Dong Hanzong's only relative in this world. Because of this, Dong Hanzong trusts Dong Tianxiang very much. In the past, Dong Tianxiang was just a small figure at the bottom who had difficulty surviving, but because of the rise of Dong Hanzong, he also turned over a new leaf. Over the years, Dong Tianxiang relied on Dong Hanzong to constantly expand the family's power. Now they have already set up 100 cities under their control. Although these cities are basically small cities, they can't be underestimated when combined, Ji Daxiong said. Dong Hanzong's talent and talent? Are you kidding me? What talent and talent can he have? The white-eyed wolf's face was full of contempt. Ji Daxiong was stunned. Ji Xiaowu and the 10 consecrators also looked at the white-eyed wolf in astonishment. Even the Sea Lion King was the same. At such a young age, he had already grasped the will of the heavens and had the Qiankuan domain. He was ranked first among the 5 unparalleled geniuses, and even the emperor looked at him in a different light. Furthermore, he was Dong Qingyuan's disciple. If Dong Hanzong didn't have it, then who did? Patriarch, why do I feel that they are a little unreliable? One of the consecrators came back to his senses and transmitted his voice. Think so too. Ji Daxiong smiled bitterly. They seemed to regret asking Qin Feiyang and the others for help. Chapter 44-35. Are you doubting our ability? The white-eyed wolf glanced at the group of people. No. Ji Daxiong hurriedly waved his hand. It was better to have helped than nothing. A group of ignorant scum. The white-eyed wolf had a look of disdain. Now he finally understood why the city lord's mansion was so heavily guarded, being targeted by Dong Hanzong's people, who wouldn't be nervous. But this time, Dong Hanzong's family had kicked an iron plate. Central Dynasty, looking at the entire Divine Kingdom, there might be no one who wasn't afraid of Dong Hanzong, but Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were undoubtedly 3 exceptions. Boom! At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly descended above the city lord's mansion. Sensing this aura, Ji Daxiong and the others couldn't help but tremble. Moreover, the guards of the city lord's mansion also immediately looked up at the sky, a cold light flashing in their eyes. What's wrong? The madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at Ji Daxiong and the others suspiciously. This person is Dong Tianxiang, Ji Daxiong said with a trembling voice. Look at you. The madman had a look of disdain as he looked outside and laughed. What a coincidence. Not at all. Because 3 days ago he already came. At that time he said that he would give us 3 days to consider. Now is the agreed time. Ji Xiaowu said in a deep voice. So it's like this. Let him in. The madman suddenly smiled and said lightly. Ji Xiaowu looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 2 and the Sea Lion Demon King with a trace of suspicion in his eyes. What's going on? Aren't these 3 people the subordinates of the Sea Lion Demon King? Now even the Sea Lion Demon King was a little nervous. Why did these 3 people have such a fearless look? Go quickly. Do you want us to go out and meet him personally? He doesn't have that much face. The white-eyed wolf stared at Ji Xiaowu. All right. Ji Xiaowu nodded, took a deep breath, got up and walked out of the door. Ji Daxiong and the 10 consecrators also prepared to get up. All of you sit down for me. How can a dignified city lord and a consecrator personally welcome a small patriarch? Madman snorted. The 11 of them looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Now, they were really worried. When the time came, not only would the 4 of them fail to help, but they would also arouse Dong Tianxiang's killing intent. In the sky, a black-clothed man stood facing the wind. He was about 1.8 meters tall and had a sturdy body. He had a head full of thick black hair and his dark eyes flickered with an astonishing amount of hostility. No one came out to greet me. This person was none other than Dong Tianxiang. Behind Dong Tianxiang, there were 3 tall and sturdy men. They were all more than 2 meters tall, like 3 small giants. Their bodies exuded a valiant aura. They are being disrespectful to you. Let's go down and teach them a lesson. The 3 burly men were filled with killing intent. All right. Be gentle. After all, we still need them to work for us. Dong Tianxiang sneered in an overbearing manner. Understood. The 3 of them nodded and prepared to rush down. But at this moment, Ji Xiaowu ran out and landed in front of the 4 people. He bowed and said, Greetings for seniors. Are you the only one who came out? Where's your father? Dong Tianxiang frowned. Ji Xiaowu said, Father is waiting for the 4 of you in the main hall. Be it his attitude or tone, he was rather polite. However, when he heard that Ji Daxiong was in the main hall and did not come out to greet them but sent a junior instead, Dong Tianxiang was filled with hostility and slapped Ji Xiaowu's face. Ji Xiaowu shrieked and was sent flying like a meteor. His face was lacerated and fresh blood flowed. Young city lord. The guards below were enraged when they saw that. Don't move. Ji Xiaowu roared and stabilized his body. He looked at Dong Tianxiang and said, Please take a seat in the hall, sir. Dong Tianxiang glanced at Ji Xiaowu and harumphed through his nose, saying proudly, Is your father that important? Get him to come out and meet me personally. Don't go overboard. Ji Xiaowu suppressed his voice and said in a deep voice, Overboard? Trash like you guys? I'm already giving you guys enough face by coming here personally. Dong Tianxiang sneered. Trash like us? Ji Xiaowu stared at Dong Tianxiang gloomily and his entire body was trembling. He was obviously on the verge of exploding. Phew! But in the end, he let out a long sigh, turned around and flew down. Family head, we can't let Ji Xiaowu live. One of the burly men looked at Ji Xiaowu's back and said in a low voice. Why? Dong Tianxiang was suspicious. He knows how to endure at such a young age. This shows how terrifying his temperament is. Such a person will definitely be a disaster in the future. The burly man said. Makes sense. Dong Tianxiang nodded and looked at Ji Xiaowu with a murderous look in his eyes. So important? You can't even invite the young city lord in? Since you can't invite him out, you guys can just stand outside. Not long after Ji Xiaowu returned to the main hall, the white-eyed wolf's voice came from inside. Dong Tianxiang and the three burly men were stunned. This voice was so unfamiliar. Could it be that Ji Daxiong had found reinforcements? Dong Tianxiang's eyes flashed and he sneered. I'd like to see who dares to go against us now. After that, he landed in front of the main hall with the three burly men and looked inside. Immediately, he saw Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, the madman, and the sea lion demon king. He even called in 4 reinforcements. However, they're all so unfamiliar. I have no impression of them at all. They're definitely not from the direct family. Dong Tianxiang murmured, because he knew a little about the people from the direct family. Ji Daxiong, I was wondering why you didn't come to greet me in person. It turns out that you've found a backer and become confident. Dong Tianxiang swaggered into the main hall with his hands behind his back as if it was his own home. He pushed Ji Daxiong aside and sat directly on the main seat. The three burly men stood behind Dong Tianxiang and sneered at Ji Daxiong and the group of consecrators. Dong Tianxiang's attitude made Ji Daxiong and the group of consecrators furious to the extreme. He simply didn't put them in his eyes. It's really annoying. The sea lion demon king murmured. He, the demon king, didn't even sit on the main seat. How could a person who had mastered 2 ultimate mysteries be so arrogant? At the same time, Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf looked at Dong Tianxiang, who was acting like a tyrant, and looked a little stunned. Was he so arrogant? He directly pushed Ji Daxiong aside and sat on the main seat. Are you the reinforcements that Ji Daxiong found? Not bad. Good wine and good food. It seems that Ji Daxiong is very confident in you. Dong Tianxiang looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 3 and laughed. And then what do you want to say? The white-eyed wolf drank a mouthful of divine wine and looked at him playfully. Do you still need to ask? I know what he wants to say. He definitely wants to say, have you inquired about my background? My nephew is Dong Hanzong, the head of the 5 unparalleled geniuses of the Central Dynasty. Since you dare to go against me, my nephew Dong Hanzong will not let you go. So I advise you to be sensible and get out of here as soon as possible. The madman laughed. You're so smart that you even know what others are thinking? The white-eyed wolf looked at the madman. Isn't this the mentality of people like him? Relying on someone behind him to intimidate others. In fact, he is trash. The madman laughed. Haha. The white-eyed wolf raised his head and laughed. Ji Xiaowu, Ji Daxiong, and the group of consecrators also couldn't help but want to laugh. The two echoed each other and it was really pleasant to listen to. The sea lion demon king couldn't help but feel melancholy in his heart. This time he had completely offended Dong Tianxiang. Looking at Dong Tianxiang again, he looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf, his eyes as gloomy as water. The faces of the 3 burly men behind him were also extremely gloomy. You guys are very courageous, Dong Tianxiang said. Not bad. The white-eyed wolf nodded. Dong Tianxiang sneered, looked at Ji Daxiong and said, this is your answer to me? Ji Daxiong suddenly looked at Qin Feiyang and the others with some fear. If you don't answer, then I'll take it as a yes. Very good. You just wait to be destroyed. Dong Tianxiang said, stood up, looked at Qin Feiyang and the others and sneered. If you have the ability, then don't run. Let's see how long you can laugh. Let's go. With that, he shouted coldly and turned around to leave. The three burly men looked at Qin Feiyong and the others with a sinister smile and also turned to leave. Did I say you can leave? But suddenly, the white-eyed wolf's voice sounded. Dong Tianxiang and the others stopped and turned around to look at the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf drank the last mouthful of wine in the jar, slowly got up, looked at the four people and said with a smile, "Is this a place where you can come and go as you please? Then what do you want?" Dong Tianxiang crossed his arms and looked at the white-eyed wolf with a sneer. "What do you think?" The white-eyed wolf murmured. Suddenly, the corner of his mouth lifted. He rushed to Dong Tianxiang in one step. So fast, Dong Tianxiang instinctively took a step back. At the same time, the three burly men saw the white-eyed wolf rushing over. Their eyes flashed with killing intent, and they punched at the white-eyed wolf. "How dare a clown be so presumptuous in front of me?" The white-eyed wolf smiled coldly. In the palm of his hand, the power of 5 laws surged out. He stretched out his hands and grabbed the fists of the two burly men at the same time. With a sudden force, the two burly men screamed and their fists were smashed on the spot, blood splattering everywhere. Immediately, he kicked another burly man in the lower abdomen, and the power of law emerged. The burly man was also sent flying on the spot, blood spurting out of his mouth. In just a moment, the three burly men were seriously injured, and their faces were pale. 5 ultimate mysteries. And all of them are ultimate laws. Dong Tianxiang looked at the white-eyed wolf, his face full of shock. As expected of the future monster king, Ji Daxiong and the others were also shocked. Because they also mastered the ultimate mysteries of the ultimate laws, they could see at a glance the strength of the power of law. The white-eyed wolf's 5 ultimate laws had reached the ultimate level. Chapter 44-36. However, although they were severely injured, their qi was not crippled. The 3 of them still had the strength to resist. "You're courting death." With a furious roar, the 3 burly men wanted to activate the ultimate profundity of their strongest laws. At this time, activating the ultimate law would inevitably lead to a devastating situation. Not only the City Lord Mansion, but the entire Green Wind City would be destroyed. Of course, for Qin Feiyong and the other 2 not to mention a Green Wind City, even if the entire Central Dynasty was destroyed they would not care. Because the people of the Central Dynasty, whether they were direct family members or collateral family members, were all members of the Dong family. Their deaths were not regrettable. But at this time they could not cause such a big commotion. The white-eyed wolf decisively attacked. The power of law emerged from his palm, containing the will of the heavenly Tao. In an instant 3 consecutive palms were thrown out. The burly man and the other 2 screamed as their heads were smashed on the spot, flesh and blood splattering everywhere. Will of the heavenly Tao. Ji Daxiong and his son, as well as the 10 consecrators were all shocked. Did they see wrongly? Wasn't he not at the Monster King level yet? Why would he have the will of the heavenly Tao? Dong Tianxiang was also dumbfounded on the spot. There was actually the will of the heavenly Tao. In other words, this person had already mastered the ultimate law of the 6 strongest laws. How could a small figure like Ji Daxiong invite an expert of the will of the heavenly Tao to help? Moreover, among the experts of the will of the heavenly Tao, who didn't know how powerful his nephew Dong Hanzong was, they would not dare to help Ji Daxiong. What was going on? Could it be? Was this person really from the top 10 families? It was just that he had changed his appearance and he couldn't recognize him? Because only the 10 great clans had such strength and courage. The divine souls of the burly man and his 2 companions escaped and hid behind Dong Tianxiang. They were also terrified. They never thought that Ji Daxiong would invite such a powerful reinforcements. With just this little strength you dare to clamor with us? The white-eyed wolf looked at Dong Tianxiang and the burly man and the other 2 with disdain in his eyes. What are you so arrogant for? I am Dong Hanzong's second uncle. If you attack us, you're courting death. Dong Tianxiang laughed. Thinking of his nephew Dong Hanzong, he was full of confidence. Courting death? White-eyed wolf chuckled as killing intent flashed in his eyes. Even if Dong Hanzong himself was here, he wouldn't dare to say such words to us. Before he finished speaking, He took a step forward and instantly landed in front of Dong Tianxiang. What are you doing? Dong Tianxiang retreated in fear. The white-eyed wolf snickered and grabbed the 3 fleeing souls of the burly man and his companions. With a squeeze of his hand, the 3 souls were annihilated on the spot, accompanied by screams of pain. What? He was killed just like that? Ji Daxiong and the others were shocked. They had asked Qin Feiyang and the others to help. Their original intention was to solve this matter peacefully. But they had never expected that someone would die. All of this had caused a huge commotion. Dong Hanzong would definitely not let this matter rest. Sigh. Now that things have come to this, I can only brace myself and do it. The Sea Lion Demon King sighed. As expected of Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, the Golden-Winged Wolf King. Even Dong Hanzong's men were killed without hesitation. They were simply lawless. Boom! The white-eyed wolf turned his gaze and stared at Dong Tianxiang, his entire body exuding a bone-piercing killing intent. This time Dong Tianxiang was scared, because the other party was not afraid of him at all. His so-called backer and backing were completely useless now. Wait a moment. Qin Feiyang spoke at this time. The white-eyed wolf was stunned and turned his head to look at Qin Feiyang in confusion. If we kill him, no one will bring a message to Dong Hanzong. Qin Feiyang faintly smiled. He looked at Dong Tianxiang and said, "Scram back. Tell Dong Hanzong that we will be waiting for him in Azure Wind City. However, we are also very busy. We will only wait for him for 3 days." He actually dared to directly challenge Dong Hanzong? Ji Daxiong and the others looked at each other. That was too crazy. Were they really not afraid of death? Good, you guys have guts. Dong Tianxiang nodded and laughed out of anger. He then turned around and walked out. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows and shouted, "I asked you to get out, not walk out." Hearing this, Dong Tianxiang's body suddenly stiffened. He turned his head to stare at the white-eyed wolf and shouted, "Don't you go too far." Go too far? Who was the one who came here to show off? Who was the one who came here to slap Ji Xiaowu? Why? Do you want me to slap you too? But I'm afraid that you can't bear it. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed coldly. You, Dong Tianxiang was furious. What about me? I'm asking you to get out or not. The white-eyed wolf shouted, his body full of murderous intent. Just you wait. And you, Ji Daxiong, let me tell you, you're finished, completely finished. Dong Tianxiang growled and lay on the ground, enduring the humiliation, and rolled out like a rubber ball. Haha, the white-eyed wolf laughed wildly. The guards outside could not help but look at each other when they saw Dong Tianxiang rolling out. What's going on? Previously he walked in arrogantly, but now he's rolling out with his tail between his legs? I won't let you off, I swear. Dong Tianxiang got up, stared at the main hall and roared. He then opened a space-time tunnel and ran in without looking back. This is really satisfying, Ji Xiaowu laughed. It's satisfying now, but we'll be in trouble in the future. Ji Daxiong sighed. Huh. Ji Xiaowu looked at Ji Daxiong. This time not only did we kill those 3 dogs, but we also humiliated Dong Tianxiang. Will Dong Hanzong let this go? I'm afraid that soon we'll have to face Dong Hanzong's revenge. Ji Daxiong was worried. How was this helping him? It was simply causing trouble for him. Hearing this, Ji Xiaowu's body stiffened and his face turned pale. Is this all you have? The white-eyed wolf looked at the group of people speechlessly. My lord, we're different from you. You're the monster kings of the Kunping Sea region. At most you can just leave. Moreover, you have the divine beast Kunping to support you. But what about us? Who's going to support us? We still have to survive in Green Wind City. How can we survive after offending Dong Hanzong? Unless he's dead. But he's so strong, who can kill him? Ji Daxiong and the group of consecrators were worried. If we knew this, we wouldn't have bothered to help you. The white-eyed wolf snorted. Ji Daxiong's face showed a trace of anger. Originally, he wanted to say that he was the one who truly regretted asking them for help. But now that he had offended Dong Hanzong, if he offended these monster kings, their situation would be even more difficult. So he endured it. Xiaowu, take the 4 monster kings to the backyard to rest. Remember to treat them well. Ji Daxiong looked at Ji Xiaowu and ordered. Yes. Ji Xiaowu nodded and looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 3. He bowed and said, "Seniors, please follow me." "City Lord, what should we do?" "Dong Hanzong will definitely not let us go. If he comes personally, we'll be dead." After Qin Feiyong and the other three left, the group of consecrators surrounded Ji Daxiong and said, "I know. Can't you see that I'm also worried about this?" Ji Daxiong said angrily, looking extremely irritated. The group of consecrators heard this and looked at each other as if they had made a decision. "City Lord, we can't risk our lives with you. Let's part ways here," the group of consecrators said. "What? You're leaving?" Ji Daxiong looked at the group of people in disbelief. "That's right. We're just consecrators that you invited. We're not your people. There's no reason for us to die with you. Of course, if this matter can be resolved peacefully in the future, we'll come back and continue to assist you," the group of consecrators said. "What a joke. If you leave when there's danger and come back when there's no danger, then why did I invite you here? Are you going to guard my house? Dogs are enough to guard the house. Even dogs are more loyal than you." Ji Daxiong roared. He was about to explode. These consecrators were usually treated well as if they were living bodhisattvas, waiting for them to lend a hand when they were in danger. But now all of them wanted to escape. How could he not be angry? "Don't make it sound so bad. The person you provoked this time is Dong Hanzong. He's not an ordinary person. Go and ask around. Who dares to help you deal with Dong Hanzong? I'm afraid it's only those 4 arrogant monster kings." The group of consecrators snorted coldly, then turned around and left without looking back, leaving behind their merciless backs. "Bastard! You're all cowards. To think that you've mastered so many ultimate profundities of supreme laws." Ji Daxiong was extremely angry. He had never seen such a heartless and unscrupulous person. In the backyard, the scenery of mountains and rivers was delightful. In front of a clear lake, there were many antique pavilions. "For seniors, you can stay here." Ji Xiaowu led Qin Feiyong and the other 3 to one of the pavilions and said respectfully, "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded. "Then you can rest first. If you need anything, just let us know." Ji Xiaowu said. "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded again. "This junior will take his leave." Ji Xiaowu bowed and turned to leave quickly. "I didn't expect Ji Daxiong to be so useless." White-Eyed Wolf looked around and said in disdain, "We can't blame him. After all, the other party is Dong Hanzong. We're not afraid, but it doesn't mean that others aren't." Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled, then looked at the Sea Lion Monster King and said, "You're right." The Sea Lion Monster King smiled bitterly. Since he had already boarded this pirate ship, what else could he say? Madman's eyes flickered with killing intent as he said, "Dong Hanzong must die. If we don't get rid of him, he will bring us big trouble sooner or later. He's already a problem now. The last time in the 4 great continents was really a pity. If he didn't leave his divine soul in the Central Dynasty, he would be a corpse now." Qin Feiyong sighed deeply. What a pity. Chapter 44-37. But it won't be easy to kill Dong Hanzong. The madman shook his head and looked at Qin Feiyong. "Let's find the inner demons and see where they are now. They should know that we have entered the Central Dynasty." The White-Eyed Wolf said, "With the connection between the inner demons and Little Qinzi, they probably know that we are in Green Wind City." The madman nodded. Qin Feiyong closed his eyes, relaxed his body and mind, and sensed the location of the inner demons. Inner demons? Big cousin? The Sea Lion Monster King looked at Qin Feiyong and the other 2 in surprise. Who are these 2? After a while, Qin Feiyong opened his eyes and looked up at the right side of the sky. The madman and the White-Eyed Wolf looked at each other and also looked up. Qin Feiyong said, "I don't know where that is, but I have determined their location." Hearing this, the madman turned to the Sea Lion Monster King and asked, "Is there anything special in this direction?" "Special?" The Sea Lion Monster King was taken aback. After pondering for a while, he frowned and said, "In this direction, there are many large and small cities, but if there is anything special, it should be Imperial Capital Mountain." Imperial Capital Mountain. The eyes of the 3 flashed. That's right. Imperial Capital Mountain. Our Central Dynasty, the most supreme place. The Sea Lion Monster King nodded. The white-eyed wolf looked at the madman and Qin Feiyong and said, "They can't be at Imperial Capital Mountain right now." Imperial Capital Mountain, Qin Feiyong murmured. Isn't this good? If the two were really at Imperial Capital Mountain, it meant that they had gained the trust of the emperor. Moreover, he could sense the location of the inner demons, and the inner demons could also sense his location, so if there was a chance, the inner demons and Big Cousin would definitely come to find them. There is one thing that I am puzzled about. The madman suddenly frowned. What? Qin Feiyong and White-Eyed Wolf looked at him suspiciously. The inner demons and Big Cousin returned to the Central Dynasty to cause trouble for Dong Qingyuan. But why is Dong Qingyuan still living such a comfortable life? Madman was confused. Yeah. White-Eyed Wolf also slapped his head. Back when he was in the 4 great continents, it had not been easy for him to create such an opportunity. Given the means of the inner demons and his cousin, there was no way they would let Dong Qingyuan off so easily once they returned to the Central Dynasty. However, when they saw Dong Qingyuan on the Kuanpeng Divine Island, they did not find anything amiss. He was still the commander of the Death God army. He was still deeply trusted by the emperor. It was still active. I'm afraid I'll have to meet the inner demons and Big Cousin before I can find out. Qin Feiyong pondered. What are you talking about? What inner demons? What Big Cousin? She's even related to Dong Qingyuan. Sea Lion Demon King looked confused. He did not understand at all. You're a demon king after all. Why are you so insensible? We didn't tell you because we didn't want you to know. Why are you still so insensible? White-Eyed Wolf glared at him. Don't be like this. At least now, I'm considered one of your own. Sea Lion Demon King smiled awkwardly. One of our own? You really don't regard me as an outsider at all. White-Eyed Wolf was speechless. This guy was so thick-skinned that even he had to admit defeat. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled. He looked at Sea Lion Demon King and said, "When we think that you are worthy of our trust, we will naturally take the initiative to tell you. As for now, just bear with your curiosity." Sea Lion Demon King pursed his lips and glanced around. His eyes rolled slightly as he said, "I'm going out for a walk." "Where are you going?" White-Eyed Wolf frowned. "I'm going to Emperor Mountain to find the Emperor and betray you." Sea Lion Demon King snorted coldly and turned around to leave without looking back. White-Eyed Wolf's mouth twitched. This guy was really not easy to deal with. However, Qin Feiyong and the other two did not take his words seriously. Often, the fiercer the words, the less likely it was to do so. Moreover, Sea Lion Demon King also knew Qin Feiyong and the other two's methods. The only outcome of betrayal was death. Even if he hid in Emperor Mountain, he would still die. At the same time, in a secret room, Ji Daxiong stood in front of a white-haired old man and asked with a frown, "Father, what do you think we should do about this?" This white-haired old man was as thin as a skeleton. His old eyes were turbid and his face was full of dry wrinkles. His eye bags were deep and he looked like a ghost with disheveled hair. It was quite scary. This person, he was the previous city lord, Ji Daxiong's father, Ji Changming. And he was in existence who had mastered 5 ultimate profound meanings of the strongest laws. He only needed one ultimate profound meaning of the strongest law to be able to master the will of the heavens and be comparable to a demon king. Ji Changming was silent for a while and said angrily, "What else can we do? We must find a way to solve it." "I know, I'm just asking you. How can we solve this matter?" "Now I really have no way." Ji Daxiong was about to cry. "Isn't this all your fault? I asked you to find a way to solve this matter peacefully, but you found a few egomaniacs. Not only did you not solve this matter, but you also made our situation more dangerous." Ji Changming snorted from his nose. Yes, it's all my son's fault." Ji Daxiong nodded repeatedly. "You can't do anything right." Ji Changming glared at Ji Daxiong and stared at the ground. He said in a deep voice, "There's only one way now. Take the initiative to find Dong Hanzong and apologize." "What?" Ji Daxiong was shocked. "If we take the initiative to apologize to Dong Hanzong now, there may be room for redemption. But once Dong Hanzong comes in person, we will all die," Ji Changming said. But Ji Daxiong frowned. Ji Changming said, "You mean Dong Hanzong will take the opportunity to make us submit to him?" "Yes." Ji Daxiong nodded. Sigh. Ji Changming sighed deeply and said in a hoarse voice, Daxiong, some things are unavoidable. Dong Hanzong is now powerful. If we don't submit, we will die in his hands sooner or later. There was helplessness in his words. Ji Daxiong couldn't help but fall silent. This is the way of the world. Who asked us to be weak? How can a weak person control his own fate? Go. Be sincere. What's wrong? Blame it on these monster kings. I don't think I need to teach you this kind of thing. You should know what to do. Ji Changming said. Understood. Ji Daxiong nodded, but he was still a little hesitant. The other party was the monster king of the Kunping Sea region. They couldn't afford to offend him. Don't worry. As long as we really submit to Dong Hanzong, then Dong Hanzong will be our backer. Facing Dong Hanzong, even the mythical beast Kunping of the Kunping Sea region will have to give him some face. Ji Changming waved his hand with a complicated expression. No matter how hard they struggled, they couldn't escape the fate of being controlled in the end. Phew. Ji Daxiong took a deep breath and nodded. I understand. Ji Changming's eyes flashed coldly and said, in addition, those 10 consecrators have been eating and drinking in our city lord mansion for so long. We can't let them leave so easily. What do you mean? Ji Daxiong was surprised. Find a chance to get rid of them. Ji Changming said. Okay. Ji Daxiong nodded. This kind of treacherous and cowardly person indeed deserved to be killed. However, he didn't think about it. Now he went to Dong Hanzong to apologize behind Qin Feiyang and the others. Wasn't that treacherous and cowardly behavior? Hanzong City. This city was located in the northwest of the Central Dynasty. Although this Hanzong City wasn't big in terms of reputation, it was estimated to be comparable to the top 10 super cities. Because the owner of Hanzong City was Dong Hanzong. This city was named after Dong Hanzong. Inside the city, there was an endless stream of horses and carriages. A majestic mansion stood in the center of the city like a king. This was the city lord's mansion. Bastard. Dong Tianxiang sat on a throne in a hall, bristling with anger. The guards and maids outside could feel Dong Tianxiang's anger and couldn't help but tremble. Swish. Suddenly, a space-time passage opened. A purple figure walked out and landed outside the hall. Greetings, young master. When the guards and maids outside the door saw this person, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and bowed to greet him. As long as the young master came back, then there was nothing that couldn't be solved. Go down. The purple-clothed young man waved his hand and smiled, looking amiable and approachable. After the group of guards and maids left, the purple-clothed young man entered the hall and looked at Dong Tianxiang, who was sitting on the throne in a rage, and said with a smile, second uncle, what happened to make you so angry that you scared those maids and guards? Hanzong. Dong Tianxiang looked up at the young man and couldn't help but be shocked. He hurriedly got up and walked to the young man with a smile. You're back so soon? How would I dare to neglect your summons? I definitely had to rush back immediately. The purple-clothed young man chuckled. Brat. Dong Tianxiang rolled his eyes at the purple-clothed young man, then pulled the young man to the side of the tea table and sat down. Second uncle, what exactly happened? The purple-clothed young man was suspicious. This purple-clothed young man was none other than Dong Hanzong. Hanzong, your second uncle was humiliated. Dong Tianxiang clenched his fists and said angrily, What? Humiliated you? Who has the guts? Dong Hanzong raised his eyebrows and a hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes. I don't know them either. But these people are related to Ji Daxiong. Dong Tianxiang said. Ji Daxiong? Dong Hanzong was stunned. That's right. Didn't you ask me to persuade Ji Daxiong to submit to us? I went there 3 days ago. At that time he didn't agree, so I said I'll give him 3 days to consider. But today when I brought people to Green Wind City to look for them, Ji Daxiong was already prepared. I don't know where he found helpers from, but not only did they kill the people I brought, they even told me to get out of the hall. Dong Tianxiang was burning with anger. This matter was a great humiliation. Get out? Dong Hanzong frowned. Yes. Like a ball, get out of the hall. Hanzong, ever since you became one of the 5 unparalleled geniuses, when have I, your second uncle, ever been wronged like this? You must help your second uncle vent this anger. Dong Tianxiang exclaimed. Chapter 44-38. Dong Hanzong's brows furrowed as he said in a deep voice, "How dare you ask my second uncle to get out? You really don't know life from death. Who are they? What do they look like?" Dong Tianxiang waved his hand and the figures of Qin Feiyang and the other three appeared. Looking at Qin Feiyang, Madman and White-Eyed Wolf, Dong Hanzong's eyes flashed with a trace of suspicion. He had no impression at all. The one who humiliated me is him. He controls the will of the heavens. Dong Tianxiang pointed at the White-Eyed Wolf. The will of the heavens. Dong Hanzong's pupil shrank. Since he was a person who controlled the will of the heavens, he was definitely not an unknown person. But why did he have no impression of him? However, when he looked at the Sea Lion Demon King, he suddenly stood up, his eyes full of uncertainty. What's wrong? Dong Tianxiang was also shocked by Dong Hanzong's reaction. Dong Hanzong was silent, staring at the figure of the Sea Lion Demon King. After a long time, he slowly returned to his seat, lowered his head, and seemed to be lost in thought. "Hanzong, what's wrong?" Dong Tianxiang was very anxious. "Second uncle." Dong Hanzong slowly raised his head and looked at Dong Tianxiang. "If I remember correctly, this person is the Demon King of the Kunping Sea region." Demon King? Dong Tianxiang was shocked. "Yes. I once went to the Kunping Sea region to train and saw many Demon Kings, so I have some impression of them. This Demon King should be the Sea Lion Demon King." Dong Hanzong nodded. "How could this be? Why is the Demon King in Qingfeng City? Shouldn't an existence like him go to the top 10 super cities?" Dong Tianxiang was surprised. Turned out to be the Demon King. No wonder he dared to humiliate him and kill his men in public. This is also what I'm puzzled about. Now Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and the Golden-Winged Wolf King broke into the Kunping Sea region. Logically speaking, the Sea Lion Demon King should be on the Kunping Island, assisting teacher, Kunpeng, and the Dragon God to capture them. But now, why would he appear in Qingfeng City? Dong Hanzong frowned. What? Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King have all entered the Kunping Sea region? Dong Tianxiang was greatly shaken. Yes. This is the news from the Death God Army's 9th and 8th teams. Now these two teams have already sealed off the coastline of the Kunping Sea area. They are preparing to kill Qin Feiyang and the other two in the Kunping Sea area. Dong Hanzong nodded. No way. Why didn't any of the major cities hear about such a big thing? Dong Tianxiang said. It's precisely because this matter is too important that in order to avoid causing a commotion, Lord Emperor has ordered for this news to be sealed off. But I don't think it will last long. After all, there is no such thing as an airtight wall in this world. Dong Hanzong shook her head. Dong Tianxiang said worriedly, "Then you have to be careful. They will definitely come for revenge." "Revenge? Second uncle, you think too highly of them. This time Master has not only brought the 9th and 8th teams, but also the entire Death God Army. Facing the entire Death God Army, no matter how powerful Qin Feiyang and the other two are, they will only die. I believe that they will definitely die in the Kunping Sea area. They won't even have the chance to see the coastline of the Kunping Sea area." Dong Hanzong sneered. "That's good." Dong Tianxiang heaved a sigh of relief and asked curiously, "How strong is the Death God Army?" "Don't ask. The strength of the Death God Army is beyond imagination. Some time ago, I followed Master to Emperor Capital Mountain and entered the base of the Death God Army. Even I was shocked when I saw the terrifying lineup." Dong Hanzong said in awe. Dong Tianxiang was stunned when he heard this. Of course, he knew his nephew's character. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't take them seriously at all. If even he was startled by it, it was bound to be an extraordinarily frightening existence. "Monster King." Dong Hanzong looked up at Qin Feiyang and the other two and said lightly, "Since the identity of the Sea Lion Monster King has been confirmed, these three should also be Monster Kings. It's just that I haven't seen them before." "4 Monster Kings. Then I can only swallow my anger." Dong Tianxiang was very unwilling. "Swallow my anger? Second uncle, you think too highly of them. If they were the divine beast Kunping or the dragon god, I wouldn't dare to do anything to them. But a mere Monster King, I don't put them in my eyes at all. Let's go. I'll take you there and get justice for you." Dong Hanzong smiled coldly and immediately got up to open a space-time passage. Dong Tianxiang was very excited when he heard this. Damn things, just wash your necks and wait for me. Patriarch. But at this moment, a voice came from outside. Dong Tianxiang was taken aback and turned to look outside the door. He saw a guard running in hurriedly. Greetings, Patriarch. Greetings, young master. The guard entered the hall and bowed respectfully in front of the two. What's the matter? Dong Tianxiang was suspicious. The guard said, the city lord of Qingfeng City, Ji Daxiong, is outside asking for an audience. Ji Daxiong? Dong Tianxiang was slightly taken aback. He turned to look at Dong Hanzong and asked suspiciously, what does he mean? Dong Hanzong pondered for a while. His eyes flashed slightly. With a wave of his hand, the space-time passage disappeared. He looked at the guard and said, invite him in. Yes. The guard nodded respectfully. No. Dong Hanzong suddenly raised his hand and shouted at the guard who was leaving. Let him in. Get in. The guard was stunned and said in surprise, young master, I'm afraid this is inappropriate. There's nothing inappropriate. If he's not willing, just ask him to get lost. Dong Hanzong said indifferently. All right. The guard nodded and turned to leave quickly. Dong Tianxiang looked at Dong Hanzong and laughed. Hanzong, you're really good. You're starting to vent for second uncle now. Since he dares to make second uncle angry, I will definitely not let him go. Dong Hanzong laughed. Dong Tianxiang was quite proud, and the vanity in his heart was satisfied. He asked, then are you sure he will roll in? He will. Dong Hanzong nodded. Why? Dong Tianxiang was suspicious. Because he's here to beg us. The corners of Dong Hanzong's mouth lifted slightly with a hint of mockery. Beg us? That's impossible. Previously in Green Wind City, his attitude was still very strong. Dong Tianxiang frowned. Dong Hanzong said, are you sure Ji Daxiong is stronger? Or are you sure the four monster kings are stronger? Dong Tianxiang was slightly stunned. After thinking carefully for a moment, when the white-eyed wolf humiliated him, Ji Daxiong did not seem to have said anything. Second uncle. If I'm not wrong, Ji Daxiong's original plan should be to solve these problems peacefully with us. But he didn't expect the four demon kings to be so arrogant and conceited. They killed our people and humiliated you. Who are you? You're my second uncle. Even if it's a monster king, I, Dong Hanzong, am not afraid. Ji Daxiong is not stupid and can definitely think of this. So the four monster kings can no longer be his backing. So now, he only has one path, which is to take the initiative to come to us and bring a bramble to ask for punishment. Dong Hanzong smiled. He had to admit that this Dong Hanzong's brain was indeed terrifying. All of this was not far from the truth. I see. Dong Tianxiang nodded in realization. More. The four monster kings will return to the Kunping Sea region sooner or later. Once the four monster kings leave, who will protect them? So as long as the four monster kings leave with our strength, dealing with a mere Ji Daxiong is as easy as crushing an ant. All of the above factors make Ji Daxiong have to reconsider the stakes. Of course, this may be the intention of that old thing. After all, that old thing is much more shrewd than Ji Daxiong. Dong Hanzong said. You mean Ji Zhangming? Dong Tianxiang asked. Yes. Dong Hanzong nodded. Dong Tianxiang asked. Then will you forgive them? I have to ask you this. As long as you forgive them, then there is nothing for me to pursue. Anyway, they are just small fries, not worth mentioning. Dong Hanzong laughed and did not take it seriously at all. When Dong Tianxiang heard this, the corners of his mouth could not help but lift slightly. Ji Daxiong, you did not expect that you would fall into my hands so quickly. You will have a good time later. Outside the mansion, Ji Daxiong stood outside the gate, waiting anxiously. Finally, the guard returned. Brother, how is it? Ji Daxiong hurriedly greeted with a flattering smile on his face. Master and young master agreed to let you in. The guard nodded. Dong Hanzong is also here? Ji Daxiong was shocked. Presumptuous. You dare to call my young master's name directly? The guard was furious on the spot. I'm sorry, I spoke without thinking. Ji Daxiong panicked and quickly apologized. The guard snorted coldly and said lightly, Young master said that you can go in, but you have to roll in. If you don't want to leave and get lost, roll in. Ji Daxiong's face turned pale. His body could not help but tremble. Wasn't this the same as giving him a taste of his own medicine? But at that time, the person who asked Dong Tianxiang to roll out of the hall was not him, but the 4 monster kings. If you want to settle the score, you should look for them. Who did I offend? What right do you have to humiliate me like this? You don't want to? Then get lost. The guard smiled coldly. Aye. Ji Daxiong clenched his fists, gritted his teeth and nodded. I'm willing, I'll roll in. After saying that, he suppressed his anger and humiliation, lay on the ground and rolled toward the gate. Damn it. What's the situation? Someone actually rolled into the City Lord mansion? Let me see who it is. How can he do such an embarrassing thing? Outside the City Lord mansion there was a street. Although it was not the main street and was not as bustling, there were still many people who frequently passed by here. Therefore, very soon many people gathered here, their faces full of curiosity. He seems a little familiar. Wait, it seems to be him, the City Lord of Green Wind City, Ji Daxiong? Yes, it's him. I've seen him in Green Wind City before. At that time he was very awe-inspiring. Wherever he went, people would kneel down and worship him. But I didn't expect that he would roll into the City Lord mansion when he came to our Hanzhong city. Could it be that he offended our City Lord? Offended our City Lord? Don't joke, our City Lord's nephew is Lord Dong Hanzhong. How dare he offend him? Everyone was discussing. Hearing these discussions, Ji Daxiong's face was flushed red, and he wished he could find a hole to hide in. At the same time, he hated Qin Feiyang and the other 3 to the extreme. That's right. At this moment, he did not hate Dong Tianxiang or Dong Hanzhong, but chose to hate Qin Feiyang and the other 3. Because in his opinion, the reason why he was suffering such humiliation was entirely because of Qin Feiyang and the other 3. They helped him, but they still hated Qin Feiyang and the other 3. Wasn't this a classic example of being ungrateful, repaying kindness with evil? Chapter 4439. Ji Daxiong had been humiliated and ridiculed all the way to the City Lord mansion. After entering the City Lord mansion, he had to face the ridicule of the guards and maids. This moment was torture for him. His pride and dignity had completely crumbled. Haha. Dong Tianxiang laughed as he watched Ji Daxiong roll to the entrance of the main hall. This laughter was particularly harsh in Ji Daxiong's ears. Crawl in on your knees, Dong Hanzhong said. Ji Daxiong's eyes trembled. Dong Hanzhong was really here. He was the leader of the 5 unparalleled geniuses, and had mastered the ultimate profundities of the 7 strongest laws. He was basically an invincible existence in the entire central dynasty. Facing Dong Hanzhong, he did not dare to be the slightest bit negligent. He crawled into the main hall and knelt in the middle of the hall. He bowed and said, "Greetings, Lord Hanzhong. Do you know why I asked you to come in?" Dong Hanzhong asked faintly. "Yes. I don't know how to appreciate your kindness." Ji Daxiong nodded fearfully. "You really don't know how to appreciate kindness. It's your honor to be able to serve me, but you actually disobeyed me. You even invited a monster king to humiliate my second uncle. May I ask who gave you the courage? Do you think a few monster kings can be your backer?" Dong Hanzhong's face was full of disdain. Not to mention the monster kings, he did not even care about the monster kings of the Kuanpeng Sea region. Yes. It's all my fault." Ji Daxiong nodded and begged, "Lord Hanzhong, please be magnanimous and not bicker with a nobody like me. I really don't want to bicker with you, because you don't have the right. But my second uncle." Dong Hanzhong did not say anything else. The meaning of his words was quite obvious. If Dong Tianxiang wanted to be merciful, it would depend on his attitude. Ji Daxiong quickly looked at Dong Tianxiang and kowtowed. "I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Please forgive me." "Forgive?" Dong Tianxiang laughed and slowly got up. He walked in front of Ji Daxiong and raised his hand to slap Ji Daxiong's face. Half of Ji Daxiong's face was instantly lacerated. It was a heart-wrenching pain, but now he didn't dare to say it out loud. He could only endure with all his might. "Even if I kill you, It won't be enough to appease the hatred in my heart. Dong Tianxiang said ferociously as he kicked Ji Daxiong again. Ji Daxiong was about to get up. Dong Tianxiang took another step forward and stepped on Ji Daxiong's face. He sneered, I can forgive you, but you have to do one thing. What is it? Ji Daxiong hurriedly asked. Not to mention one thing, he was willing to do 100 things. He only hoped that this humiliation would end soon. Xiao Huan, come in. Dong Tianxiang retracted his foot and shouted towards the door. A pretty maid quickly walked in and bowed. Master, come over here and stand properly. Dong Tianxiang pointed to his side. Maid Xiao Huan immediately walked to Dong Tianxiang's side. Dong Tianxiang took a few steps back and looked at Ji Daxiong, who was crawling up. Crawl under Xiao Huan's crotch and I'll forgive you. What? Ji Daxiong's face instantly turned pale. Crawl under his crotch? Moreover, it was under a woman's crotch. Was there anything more shameful than this? You think it's embarrassing? Dong Tianxiang sneered. Ji Daxiong trembled. The humiliation of crawling under his crotch was more than embarrassing. No man in the world would do such a shameless thing. If you don't want to crawl, then get lost. Anyway, we're preparing to go to Green Wind City. Dong Tianxiang smiled coldly. What? Ji Daxiong's eyes trembled. Dong Tianxiang was planning to go to Green Wind City again? Looking at Dong Hanzong's expression, was he going to go personally? Dong Hanzong said faintly, before you came, we had already opened the space-time tunnel to Green Wind City. Ji Daxiong was shocked. Fortunately, he came in time. Otherwise, they would have been destroyed by now. I'll ask you one last time. Crawl or not? Dong Tianxiang shouted angrily. Crawl. Ji Daxiong shuddered and nodded quickly. He closed his eyes and crawled towards Maid Xiao Huan step by step. Maid Xiao Huan's cheeks were red. After all, she was still a young woman. She would definitely be embarrassed about this kind of thing. However, she did not dare to disobey Dong Tianxiang's order. Finally, Ji Daxiong endured the humiliation and crawled over. Haha. Dong Tianxiang also raised his head and laughed. This was the result of going against him. The 4 monster kings, just you wait. Soon you will be like Ji Daxiong and suffer endless humiliation. Second uncle, are you satisfied? Dong Hanzong asked with a smile. Satisfied, very satisfied. Dong Tianxiang nodded. Ji Daxiong opened his eyes, hiding the anger in his heart, looked at Dong Hanzong and said, Lord Hanzong, can you spare me now? Dong Hanzong said, since second uncle is satisfied, then I naturally have nothing to pursue. Thank you, Lord. Ji Daxiong thanked repeatedly. Don't thank me too early. If you don't want us to find trouble with you, there is one more condition, submit to me. Dong Hanzong said lightly. I'm willing to submit. Ji Daxiong nodded. You agreed so quickly? Dong Tianxiang was stunned and sneered. If you agreed earlier, would there be such a thing now? Yes. It's all because of my ignorance. But now I have been enlightened. From now on, I will do my best for Lord Hanzong. Ji Daxiong smiled flatteringly, looking like a standard lackey. Very good. Dong Hanzong nodded with a smile and said lightly, tell me, how did you invite the 4 monster kings? They entered Green Wind City by themselves. I don't know why they came to Green Wind City. I received the news that they entered the city, so I asked my son to find them. My original intention was to see if this matter could be resolved peacefully. After all, they are the monster kings of the Kunping Sea region. You might give them face, but I didn't expect them to be so arrogant and do such a thing. Ji Daxiong said regretfully. Face? They are just monster kings, I will give them face? Do they think they are Kunping? Dong Hanzong smiled disdainfully. What else could Ji Daxiong say? He could only say yes. Now you know how naive you are. Dong Tianxiang sneered. I know. Ji Daxiong nodded. Where are they now? Dong Tianxiang asked. Ji Daxiong said. They are all placed in the backyard. Good. Take us there now. I want to see if they still dare to be arrogant when they see my nephew coming in person. Dong Tianxiang smiled coldly. Backyard. Qin Feiyang was leisurely sitting by the lake, drinking tea. The frenzy and the white-eyed wolf were naturally drinking. Of course, they weren't just drinking tea here, they were waiting for Dong Hanzong. They were already clear about Dong Hanzong's character. He would definitely come. Buzz. Suddenly, a space-time passage appeared. But the person who came was not Dong Hanzong or Dong Tianxiang, but the Sea Lion Monster King. The Sea Lion Monster King ran out of the space-time passage and ran excitedly to Qin Feiyang and the other two. What's the matter? Why are you so happy? The three of them looked at him suspiciously. Good thing. The Sea Lion Monster King bared his teeth and took out an old jar. This jar had no patterns. It was completely black and looked extremely ordinary. What is it? The three of them were curious. This is a treasure. It wasn't easy for me to find it, and I spent a lot of money to get it. The Sea Lion Monster King bared his teeth and put the jar on the table. The white-eyed wolf looked at it curiously for a while and said suspiciously, "Could it be a wine jar?" The shape of this thing was indeed like a wine jar. It was the size of 2 adult palms and was tightly sealed. Don't even think about it, I specially prepared this for Qin Feiyang. The frenzy was about to open the wine jar when the Sea Lion Monster King quickly reached out and slapped the frenzy's hand away. What? And it was specially prepared for Qin Feiyang. Why are you treating him differently? The white-eyed wolf stared at the Sea Lion Monster King. If it was wine, he definitely wouldn't give it to Qin Feiyang like this. In his eyes, there was nothing in this world more tempting than wine. You don't understand. Anyway, you can't touch this thing. After the Sea Lion Monster King said, he looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. There is indeed wine in it, but it's not ordinary wine. When the time comes, I guarantee you will be surprised. Although the wine is good, don't drink too much. It's really wine. The frenzy and the white-eyed wolf were taken aback and quickly reached out to grab it. The Sea Lion Monster King grabbed the wine jar and said angrily, "Are you dogs? Why are you snatching everything? Are you looking for a beating?" The two glared at him. How could they give this wine to Qin Feiyang? Giving it to him was purely a waste. He didn't know how to drink at all. Humph! The Sea Lion Monster King snorted coldly and came in front of Qin Feiyang. He stuffed the wine jar into Qin Feiyang's hand and said with a smile, "It's really a good thing. You must treasure it well." Qin Feiyang looked at the wine jar, and then at the Sea Lion Monster King. He couldn't help but laugh. "I know you don't drink, but this wine is different. It's good for you. Trust me this time. When the time comes, you will definitely come to the market to see me," the Sea Lion Monster King said solemnly. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Was it really that good? Hey, I'm just being kind. Are you still doubting me? Okay, just think of it as me worrying for nothing. I'll throw it away now. The Sea Lion Monster King snorted and threw the wine jar into the lake. Don't. How can you throw it away? He doesn't like it, but we do. The frenzy quickly stopped the Sea Lion Monster King and stared at the wine jar with burning eyes. The Sea Lion Monster King said it so well. The wine inside must be extraordinary. Not for you. The Sea Lion Monster King snorted coldly. I say, you're really looking for a beating. The white-eyed wolf suddenly became angry. I'm also doing it for your own good. You can't drink this wine. The Sea Lion Monster King said patiently. Why can't I drink it? The white-eyed wolf frowned and said, Is it poisonous? Get lost. If it's poisonous, why would I stop you? With your addiction to wine, you would have been poisoned to death long ago. The Sea Lion Monster King rolled his eyes. Ha, the white-eyed wolf laughed dryly. That's true. If it was really poisonous, the Sea Lion Monster King would definitely want them to drink it. Chapter 4440. Buzz. At this moment, another space-time tunnel appeared. Familiar auras emerged one after another. Dong Hanzong. Madman's eyes narrowed. And Dong Tianxiang, wait, why is there Ji Daxiong's aura? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Sea Lion's pupils shrank as he hurriedly put away the wine jar and stared at the space-time tunnel. Not to mention anything else, just the name Dong Hanzong was enough to make people treat him seriously. Finally, 3 figures walked out. If it wasn't Dong Hanzong, Dong Tianxiang, and Ji Daxiong, who else could it be? After not seeing each other for a while, this Dong Hanzong was more energetic than before. Madman frowned and said, Ji Daxiong, why are you with them? I have now realized my mistake. Ji Daxiong said indifferently. Realized your mistake? Madman was taken aback. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he said with a faint smile, So you intend to be their lackey? Don't make it sound so bad. A wise man submits to circumstances. Ji Daxiong sneered. Haha, I really admire you. Even being a lackey can make it sound so dignified. Madman laughed loudly. He was really blind to help such a thing. Ji Daxiong's face sank as he said angrily, Lord Hanzong personally came and you still don't kneel? Are you courting death? Him. Is he qualified to make us kneel? You're a good dog. You're protecting your master so quickly, showing your loyalty. The white-eyed wolf sneered. Yu Ji Daxiong was furious. Calling him a dog, what did he think he was? Interesting. Dong Hanzong chuckled and looked at Qin Feiyang's group of 4. This is the first time I see a monster king daring to be so arrogant in front of me. What are you? So what if I'm arrogant in front of you? The white-eyed wolf looked at him mockingly. Good. Very good. Originally, I wanted to leave some face for Kuenping and let you admit your mistake. But now you're all dead. Dong Hanzong's eyes flashed with killing intent. Haha. This day next year will be the anniversary of your deaths. Dong Tianxiang laughed. Shut up, trash. Don't embarrass yourself. White-eyed wolf said calmly. When Dong Tianxiang heard this, he immediately roared with hostility. Bastard. Today I will make you suffer a fate worse than death. You don't have that ability. The white-eyed wolf sneered and looked at Dong Hanzong. You are quite impressive. No wonder you are the top genius of the Central Dynasty. You flatter me. Dong Hanzong smiled faintly and looked down at the 4 of them. Kill yourselves so I don't have to do it myself. Haha, the white-eyed wolf laughed loudly. Madman was also laughing. The corners of Qin Feiyang's mouth also curled into a smile. Suicide? How could there be someone in this world with such naive thoughts? Do you still think you're some big shot? Just because he said he wanted someone to commit suicide, they had to commit suicide? It seems that you all have chosen the second path. Dong Hanzong wasn't angry, and he chuckled. In my opinion, there is a third path. The white-eyed wolf sneered. What path? Let's hear it. Maybe I can give you some suggestions. Dong Hanzong crossed his arms and looked at the white-eyed wolf with a mocking gaze. Okay. The third path is to kill you. Now tell me, what good suggestions do you have? The white-eyed wolf said. Kill me? Dong Hanzong was slightly stunned and smiled. Then my suggestion is that you all should give up this unrealistic idea as soon as possible. Because this is a joke, you will never have the ability to do so. Is that so? Confidence is a good thing, but too much confidence may not be a good thing. The white-eyed wolf sneered. Confidence needs capital. I, Dong Hanzong, have this capital. Let's go. Follow me to the Star River to die. After Dong Hanzong said that, he stepped out and entered the Star River without looking back. Don't run if you have the guts. Dong Tianxiang laughed and followed him into the Star River. It's all because of you that I was humiliated like this. I will only be happy when I see you all die with my own eyes. Ji Daxiong stared at Qin Feiyang and the other 3 with a sinister smile and followed him into the Star River. Sigh. This is the human heart, it's too scary. The Sea Lion Beast King looked at Ji Daxiong's back and sighed. He helped him out of kindness, but in the end he got hatred and resentment. They are just a bunch of clowns. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. He stepped into the clouds and entered the galaxy. The white-eyed wolf and the mad scientist looked at each other and laughed. They also flew into the sky and disappeared into the Star River. Enter the Star River? Wasn't that what they wanted? Because fighting in Green Wind City would definitely expose their identities. But it was different in the Star River. As long as they finished off Dong Hanzong quickly, they could continue to hide their whereabouts and let Dong Qingyuan Kuanpeng and the Dragon God think that they were still in the Kuanpeng Sea region. In the depths of the Star River, Dong Tianxiang and Ji Daxiong stood behind Dong Hanzong. One sneered and the other was full of resentment. As Qin Feiyang and the other 3 stepped into the Star River one after another, the atmosphere instantly became solemn. Let's do it. It's best to do it with all your strength because you only have one chance. Dong Hanzong looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 3 with contempt in his eyes. As he spoke, he waved to Dong Tianxiang and the mad scientist. The 2 understood and quickly retreated into the distance. Looking at this scene, the white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed. Whoosh! A dazzling golden light emerged. The next moment, a pair of golden wings appeared behind the white-eyed wolf. Golden wings? What kind of beast king is this? Dong Tianxiang and the mad scientist were surprised. The next moment, the white-eyed wolf spread its wings and charged at Dong Hanzong like lightning. Dong Hanzong smiled faintly and didn't take it seriously. However, just as the white-eyed wolf was about to reach Dong Hanzong, the momentary time, the will of heaven, and the ability of the golden wings were instantly activated. That moment, his speed soared. In an instant he passed Dong Hanzong and went straight to Dong Tianxiang. Dong Hanzong was stunned and immediately saw through the white-eyed wolf's purpose. He turned around and shouted, "How dare you!" In the face of this sudden change, Dong Tianxiang's expression changed. The idea of escaping immediately arose in his mind, but the white-eyed wolf's current speed was equivalent to 2 momentary times, and Dong Tianxiang didn't even have the most basic will of heaven. How could he escape from the white-eyed wolf's palm? In the blink of an eye, the white-eyed wolf landed in front of Dong Tianxiang and grabbed Dong Tianxiang's head. Dong Tianxiang suddenly felt a piercing murderous aura. His whole body was instantly enveloped by the aura of death. Seeing this, Ji Daxiong hurriedly retreated, his whole body covered in cold sweat. Fortunately, this monster king's target wasn't him. Otherwise he would definitely be in the same situation as Dong Tianxiang. "You're courting death." Dong Hanzong gloomily stared at the white-eyed wolf. "Yes. I'm courting death. No. I'm courting death. Please grant me my wish." The white-eyed wolf laughed wildly. With a slight force from his 5 fingers, Dong Tianxiang's head exploded like a watermelon on the spot. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Following closely, the white-eyed wolf grabbed Dong Tianxiang's soul again. "You dare to kill me?" Dong Tianxiang roared. "Ignorance is terrible." The white-eyed wolf sighed deeply. Dong Hanzong stared at the white-eyed wolf and said word by word, "If you dare to kill my second uncle, I swear, even if you can ascend to the heavens or enter the earth, I will not let you go. Are you doubting my courage?" The corners of the white-eyed wolf's mouth lifted, and his 5 fingers suddenly retracted. With a shrill scream, Dong Tianxiang's soul was destroyed on the spot. Dong Hanzong was dumbfounded on the spot. Ji Daxiong was the same. The sea lion demon king's face was also full of wry smiles. Dong Hanzong's second uncle was killed without the slightest hesitation. These guys' methods were really indescribable. First, seeing Dong Hanzong's arrival, the sea lion demon king was very nervous. Although he had also seen the methods of Qin Feiyang and the other two, it was not comprehensive. However, he had long heard of Dong Hanzong's strength, an existence known as invincible. Even if it was the mythical beast Kuanpeng, the dragon god, and Dong Qingyuan, such giants without a peak-level dominator divine weapon, I'm afraid they would not be Dong Hanzong's opponent. Therefore, he thought that in the face of Dong Hanzong, Qin Feiyang and the other two would more or less restrain themselves. But he didn't expect them to be even more arrogant and insolent than before. That look, that attitude, they simply took Dong Hanzong seriously. "I'm sorry," the white-eyed wolf's arm trembled as he looked at Dong Hanzong and said apologetically, "I accidentally destroyed his divine soul. I'm really sorry, but it's also your fault. Why did you scare me? I'm a very timid person. Once I'm scared, I don't know what's important." The corner of the sea lion demon king's mouth twitched. "You're a timid person? Do you have any shame? If you're a timid person, then is there anyone brave in this world? You clearly killed him on purpose, but now you're blaming Dong Hanzong for scaring you. You should at least consider Dong Hanzong's mood at this moment. After all, you just killed his second uncle." Dong Hanzong clenched his fists. His face was so gloomy that it was scary. "Don't look at me like that. I'm scared. I think there must be a way to remedy it now. Did he leave his divine soul in advance to save his life?" The white-eyed wolf's timid appearance made Madman and Qin Feiyang not know whether to laugh or cry. With Dong Hanzong as his backer, how could Dong Tianxiang split his divine soul in advance to save his life? Wasn't this deliberately provoking Dong Hanzong? Boom! Just as expected. Hearing the white-eyed wolf's words, Dong Hanzong could no longer control the anger and killing intent in his heart. It surged out like a volcanic eruption, sweeping across millions of miles of the galaxy. "See, you're here to scare me again. Unfortunately, your family is no longer here. Otherwise, they will definitely suffer again." The white-eyed wolf said innocently, "You can go to hell and be buried with my second uncle." Dong Hanzong roared, his teeth bared and his eyes were bloodshot. Boom! In the next moment, the ultimate meaning of the 7 strongest laws appeared, and the will of the heavenly Tao erupted. Terrifying divine power shattered in all directions, as if doomsday had arrived. Heh! You should go to hell and reunite with your second uncle. The white-eyed wolf grinned. The golden wings shone brightly, as if a god had descended to the mortal world. At this moment, looking at the white-eyed wolf's divine power, Ji Daxiong couldn't help but feel a sense of regret. Why was he so stupid to do such a stupid thing? Chapter 44-41. Boom! The white-eyed wolf's 6 ultimates also appeared out of nowhere and blasted toward Lin Fan. Both were ultimate mysteries of the strongest laws. Naturally, there was no suspense between 7 and 6. But the white-eyed wolf, relying on its astonishing speed, it instantly appeared behind Dong Hanzong and ruthlessly slapped Dong Hanzong's back. And Dong Hanzong did not even turn his head. His face was full of contempt. Boom! The next moment, a domain appeared. It was the Qian Kuan domain. Runes flashed out one after another. These runes, there were star runes, undying runes, seal runes. Star runes was the innate ability of inverse the universe. It could have the power to move the stars. Undying runes was the innate ability of the undying domain. The physical body entered an undying state. Every time it was seriously injured, its strength would increase by a bit. Seal runes was the innate ability of the sealed god domain. It had the terrifying power of sealing laws, divine power and strength. There was also the invincible runes of the god-slaying domain, which could make the user invincible for an hour. Finally, the clear heaven domain added a layer of will of heaven. Each domain had a heaven-defying ability. But Dong Hanzong's Qian Kuan domain was stronger. The strongest form of the Qian Kuan domain was the ability to open 5 domains. In other words, he alone had 5 domains. The ability of 5 domains, any one of them was heaven-defying, not to mention gathering them in one body. Could be said that Dong Hanzong was indeed an invincible existence. It was no wonder that someone like Ji Daxiong would be so afraid of him. And at this moment, Dong Hanzong opened the strongest form of the Qian Kuan domain, which was enough to prove his killing intent towards the white-eyed wolf. Boom! The white-eyed wolf's palm slapped Dong Hanzong's back. The invincible runes flickered. Not only did the white-eyed wolf not hurt Dong Hanzong at all, it was also hit by Dong Hanzong's backhand. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out. The white-eyed wolf was like a meteorite, flying out horizontally. Golden blood. Dong Hanzong was stunned. Ji Daxiong's eyes also widened. This demon king's blood was actually golden? Ji Daxiong was only surprised because he had never seen blood of this color. But Dong Hanzong was different. The image of a golden wolf immediately appeared in his mind. Golden wings, golden blood. It couldn't be such a coincidence. Haha, impressive. If I'm alone, I won't be your match. The white-eyed wolf cackled. Even white-eyed wolf, a person who never admitted defeat, said such words. It could be seen how terrifying Dong Hanzong's combat strength was. Brother. Dong Hanzong was taken aback. Wasn't that the golden-winged wolf king's catchphrase? You are. His eyes immediately widened in anger. Not bad. It's me, your brother. The white-eyed wolf laughed heartily. The heaven-devouring beast was born. This was the true sovereign of all beasts. Once the fighting soul appeared, all beasts would submit to it. At this moment, the sea lion demon king standing behind Qin Feiyang, and the madman couldn't help but want to kneel down. This was a sense of oppression that came from the depths of his soul. How could it be you? Dong Hanzong looked at the white-eyed wolf's fighting soul with disbelief in his eyes. There's also us. The madman cackled. A monstrous evil aura erupted. This was the aura of the source of all evil. The galaxy instantly turned into an abyss of purgatory. Every corner was filled with terrifying evil power. With a loud clang, the all-evil sword appeared with a peerless edge. Dong Hanzong looked at the madman with a dazed expression. When he regained his senses, he looked at Qin Feiyang next to the madman. Since the other two were Madman Mo and Golden-Winged Wolf King, then wouldn't this person be? When he thought of this, his eyes couldn't help but tremble. You didn't expect us to meet again so soon, right? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and directly activated his 3,000 incarnations. The ultimate meaning of the law of life and death and the 6 ultimate laws appeared in the sky. The dual will of heavenly Tao erupted. The terrifying aura swallowed in all directions like a tide. How could this be? Weren't you sealed in the Kunping Sea region? Dong Hanzong was dumbfounded. He never thought that it would be these 3 people. He wasn't afraid of anyone else. Even if it was the Kunping dragon god, monarch, divine king, or the human race, he dared to say that he didn't put them in his eyes. But only Qin Feiyang, the madman, the white-eyed wolf. Facing Qin Feiyang and the other 2, he never dared to have such thoughts, because the strength and methods of these 3 people were too terrifying. Especially the white-eyed wolf's battle soul. Not only was it the nemesis of all battle souls in the world, but it was also the nemesis of the 5 major domains. Back then, during the battle between the white-eyed wolf and Dong Xian, the white-eyed wolf used the battle soul's innate ability to swallow Dong Xian's sealed god domain. The 5 major domains had a fatal drawback. It could only be activated once a day, and could only last for half an hour each time. This drawback was a fatal crisis when facing the white-eyed wolf, because once it was swallowed by the white-eyed wolf, they would temporarily lose this powerful trump card. So now, whether it was Dong Hanzong or Dong Tianqian, they would rather fight to the death with the madman and Qin Feiyang than face the white-eyed wolf. Although the madman and Qin Feiyang were very strong, they didn't have the means to restrain their domains. The only way was to delay until the time of their domains ended. But for ingrates, if they had a disagreement, they could just devour them as easily as blowing off dust. So strong. Why are there so many clones? And these clones can all activate the ultimate meaning. Wait, that seems to be the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death, the kingdom of life and death? It can't be. Could he be Lu Yuntian? But that can't be right. Lu Yuntian's demon king true body is different from this person's clones. Ji Daxiong looked at Qin Feiyang and the 3,000 clones in shock. Dong Hanzong, this time we won't give you another chance. The white-eyed wolf laughed. Roar! The battle soul roared and the 4th ability was activated. Dong Hanzong's universe domain suddenly left Dong Hanzong and flew towards the white-eyed wolf's battle soul. Ji Daxiong, quickly help and destroy his battle soul. Dong Hanzong roared. If the domain was swallowed, then he would completely lose the ability to resist. But at this moment, Ji Daxiong was already scared silly by Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 incarnations, tens of thousands of ultimate mysteries. Moreover, even if he wasn't scared silly, he wouldn't dare to make a move. Because he hadn't even grasped the will of heaven, how would he dare to deal with the white-eyed wolf? Useless trash. Dong Hanzong was furious. However, no matter what he did, he couldn't stop the domain from leaving. He could only watch as the domain was swallowed by the white-eyed wolf's battle soul. Dong Hanzong, who had lost his domain, had a gloomy expression. With his current state, it was impossible for him to be a match for Qin Feiyang and the other 2. Suddenly, he stared at the Sea Lion Demon King and said in a deep voice, "Are you the one who brought them out of Kunpeng Sea region?" Yes. Could the Sea Lion Demon King still quibble? Of course not, because the truth was right in front of him, so he could only bite the bullet and nod. How dare you betray our divine kingdom? Dong Hanzong shouted sternly. I had no choice, I was dragged onto the pirate ship by them. The Sea Lion Demon King's face was full of helplessness. Good. Just wait for your death. Dong Hanzong laughed angrily. He never thought that the Demon King of Kunpeng Sea region would help Qin Feiyang and the other 2. Humph! Even if you die, you will die before me. The Sea Lion Demon King snorted. Dong Hanzong, your death is worth it. After all, there has never been anyone who could make the 3 of us work together and use all our trump cards. The madman laughed. The next moment, the all-evil sword with its 21,000 ultimate profound, shattered the starry sky and charged towards Dong Hanzong. Ji Daxiong, who was not far away, was scared out of his wits by this terrifying momentum. Boom! In an instant, Dong Hanzong was drowned by the all-evil sword and the 21,000 ultimate profound. You guys can't be arrogant for long. Just you wait, soon you will die in the hands of the Death God army. I will wait for you in hell, Dong Hanzong roared. Before his voice fell, His body and divine soul were instantly annihilated. Not even a strand of hair was left. He died just like that? Ji Daxiong looked at this scene in a daze, and a stream of water flowed out from his pants. Obviously, he was so scared that he peed his pants. Dong Hanzong was known as an invincible existence in the Central Dynasty. However, at this moment in front of these three, he didn't even have the strength to fight back. The strength of these three people was a little too terrifying, wasn't it? The Sea Lion Demon King was also shocked. The first of the 5 unparalleled geniuses actually died just like that. The Golden-Winged Wolf King. He looked at the white-eyed wolf with deep fear in his eyes. Because he could see that to be able to kill Dong Hanzong so quickly, it was all thanks to the white-eyed wolf. If it wasn't for the white-eyed wolf's battle soul that swallowed Dong Hanzong's Qingkuan domain, even if Frenzied and Qin Feiyang joined forces to fight Dong Hanzong, it would be a tough battle. Swallowing Dong Hanzong's domain. What kind of battle soul was this? It was actually powerful to such an extent. No wonder the three of them dared to sit in the City Lord Mansion and wait for Dong Hanzong. No wonder the three of them didn't care about the powerful Dong Hanzong. Turned out that they had the means to restrain Dong Hanzong. The white-eyed wolf waved his hand and the battle soul disappeared. The golden wings also retracted. Looking at the Sea Lion Demon King, he said in disdain, "Useless guy, now you've learned something new." The Sea Lion Demon King smiled bitterly. It was more than just learning something new. All of this was simply unheard of. Spare my life, four lords. I was confused for a moment and betrayed the four lords to find Dong Hanzong. Suddenly, Ji Daxiong ran over and knelt in the air. His face was full of pleading. The white-eyed wolf glanced at Ji Daxiong and said in contempt, "People like you, I really can't be bothered to kill you. Thank you, Lord, for your mercy." Ji Daxiong was ecstatic. As long as he could survive, it didn't matter how much he ridiculed him. However, you still have to die because you saw this battle. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed with killing intent. Don't. Ji Daxiong's happy mood instantly fell to the bottom of the valley. It's useless. Because they are Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King. But you really do deserve to be killed. As a sea beast, this king knows the principle of repaying kindness with kindness and revenge with hatred. But you? A human being is actually so heartless, repaying kindness with enmity and betraying us. The Sea Lion Demon King sneered. What? Ji Daxiong looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two with a dumbfounded expression. These three were Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and the Golden-Winged Wolf King, whose name shook the 4 great continents and the Central Dynasty. Now you know how stupid your actions are. If you were willing to behave and be honest, you might have gotten a chance to make a meteoric rise. Unfortunately, you have chosen a path of no return. The Sea Lion Demon King laughed and waved his hand, directly killing Ji Daxiong. Not even his corpse remained. Chapter 44-42. In just a few seconds, Dong Hanzong, the leader of the 5 unparalleled geniuses, who was known as an invincible existence, had fallen in the Star River. It was almost equivalent to an instant kill. Although the truth had happened in front of him, the Sea Lion Beast King still felt that it was ridiculous. Because in his opinion, the encounter between Dong Hanzong and Qin Feiyang would definitely lead to an unprecedented battle that would shake the entire Central Dynasty. But he never thought that it would end so quickly. It was so fast that no one could react. Let's go. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Where are we going? The Sea Lion Beast King came back to his senses and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. If you don't remove the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. Killing intent flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. You plan to? The Sea Lion Beast King was surprised. Yes. Destroy Dong Hanzong's forces. Qin Feiyang stepped out of the Star River and saw 2 people flying towards him. It was an old man and a young man. The young man was Ji Xiaowu, and the old man was a stooped old man. This person was Ji Changming. Greetings, Lord. Seeing Qin Feiyang and the other 3 coming out of the Star River, Ji Xiaowu quickly bowed. But at the same time, Ji Changming's eyes were filled with disbelief. Why were the 4 of them the ones who came out of the Star River alive? Ji Xiaowu didn't know, but he knew. Because it was his idea that Ji Daxiong went to find Dong Hanzong, so when he sensed the battle fluctuations, He already knew that it must be Dong Hanzong and Qin Feiyang's group of 4 fighting. He thought that the ones who came out of the Star River alive would be Dong Hanzong, Dong Tianxiang and Ji Daxiong. But he never expected that it would be the 4 of them. You still dare to come to us? Qin Feiyang looked at the two indifferently. Huh? Lord, what do you mean? Ji Xiaowu was surprised. Ji Xiaowu's reaction surprised Qin Feiyang's group of 4. Frenzy suspiciously said, Don't you know? What do I know? Ji Xiaowu had a puzzled look. Qin Feiyang and the other 3 looked at each other. Looking at Ji Xiaowu, he really didn't know what Ji Daxiong was doing. The 4 of them then looked at Ji Zhongming. Ji Xiaowu introduced, This is my grandfather, Ji Changming. Grandfather, these 4 are the senior demon kings that I mentioned to you before. Greetings, sirs. Ji Zhongming looked calm on the surface, but he was panicking inside. This was because he did not know what had happened in the Milky Way. He also didn't know the current situation of Dong Hanzong, Dong Tianxiang and Ji Daxiong. Actually, he had already thought about it. Since Qin Feiyang and the other 2 managed to walk out of the Celestial River alive, then Dong Hanzong and the other 2 might have already met with a mishap. However, he couldn't believe it. Who was Dong Hanzong? He was the leader of the 5 unparalleled geniuses. He had grasped the ultimate profundities of the 7 ultimate laws, and had a heaven-defying domain. With such strength, how could he die in the hands of these 4 archfiend kings? Therefore, in his heart, he held on to a sliver of hope. Dong Hanzong might not have been the one fighting in the Star River. Ji Zhongming, Qin Feiyang sized up Ji Zhongming, his eyes flickering. This person also didn't know? But it was impossible for Ji Daxiong to make such a big decision. White-eyed Wolf's eyes flashed and he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Don't waste time, let's go. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and opened a space-time tunnel. He turned around and led White-eyed Wolf and the other 2 away. Sirs, where are you going? Ji Xiaowu hurriedly called out, looking a little anxious. He, who didn't know the truth, still regarded Qin Feiyang and the other 3 as his saviors. However, Qin Feiyang and the other 3 didn't answer and entered the space-time tunnel without looking back. What's going on? Ji Xiaowu frowned. Let's go to the Star River and have a look. Ji Zhongming watched Qin Feiyang and the other 3 leave, then looked at the Star River and said in a deep voice. The grandfather and grandson rushed into the Star River, and when they saw the shattered Star River, their faces were filled with shock. Who were they fighting with before? Ji Xiaowu murmured. Dong Hanzong. Ji Zhongming clenched his hands together and no longer hid the anger in his heart. Dong Hanzong. Ji Xiaowu's eyes trembled. That's right. I've seen Dong Hanzong before, and there are remnants of his aura here. Ji Zhongming said gloomily and then released his divine sense, covering the sky and earth. Soon, his body suddenly trembled, and he said in a deep voice, There's also the aura of Dong Tianxiang and your father. What? Ji Xiaowu's face changed and he also quickly released his divine sense. Sure enough, he caught the remnant aura of Dong Tianxiang and his father in the shattered Star River. How did this happen? This Dong Hanzong is too much. He killed my father. Ji Xiaowu was furious, his eyes filled with anger. Ji Zhongming clenched his hands together and suddenly turned to look at Ji Xiaowu with red eyes. Xiaowu, the one who killed your father is not Dong Hanzong. Huh? Ji Xiaowu turned to look at Ji Zhongming. Who else could it be other than Dong Hanzong? The 4 monster kings. Ji Zhongming roared. What? How could it be them? Ji Xiaowu's eyes were filled with disbelief. It's my fault. I asked your father to go to Dong Hanzong and ask for forgiveness. Ji Zhongming closed his eyes in pain and briefly explained the matter. So that's how it is. Grandfather, why did you do this? They came to help us out of kindness. What's the difference between this and repaying kindness with enmity? Even if you don't believe them, just let them leave the city lord's mansion. Why do you have to harm them? Ji Xiaowu's body panicked and he felt a little dizzy. He then held his forehead and stared at Ji Zhongming angrily. Xiaowu, I'm sorry. Ji Zhongming's face was full of self-blame as he lowered his head and said, I really didn't expect them to be so strong. Even Dong Hanzong is not their opponent. No, Dong Hanzong might have already died in their hands. Dong Hanzong died in their hands. Ji Xiaowu's body and mind trembled as he scanned the Star River. Although he didn't see it with his own eyes, it was indeed a possibility. Ji Zhongming said gloomily, no matter what, Your father must have died in the hands of the 4 monster kings. This grudge, we have to take revenge. Revenge? When we met them before, why didn't you say revenge? Ji Xiaowu laughed at himself. The 4 monster kings could even kill Dong Hanzong, let alone the 2 of them. They're so strong, how could I dare to say it? I can only pretend that I don't know anything. Ji Zhongming cried out in grief. You also know that they're very strong. Then what revenge are you talking about? Isn't taking revenge on them the same as seeking death? Ji Xiaowu said. His whole person instantly fell to the extreme. We indeed don't have the strength, but it doesn't mean that there's no other way. Dong Hanzong is highly regarded by the emperor. As long as we tell the emperor about this, the 4 monster kings will definitely die. Ji Zhongming sneered. Grandfather. Ji Xiaowu looked at Ji Zhongming in shock and asked, You've already repaid kindness with enmity. Do you want to do it a second time? Then we can't let your father die in vain. Ji Zhongming said angrily. Father's death is all your fault. If you didn't ask father to find Dong Hanzong, would he die now? Grandfather, I'm not blaming you. Grandson just wants to tell you that now we've learned our lesson. We can't continue to make mistakes. Ji Xiaowu exclaimed. Shut up. Ji Zhongming shouted angrily and gloomily said. No matter what, I'll make them pay with blood. Ji Xiaowu said angrily, Grandfather, you're unreasonable. It's really unreasonable. Suddenly, a voice sounded. Ji Zhongming's face changed and hurriedly turned to look behind, only to see 4 figures appear in the originally empty void. If it wasn't Qin Feiyong and the other 3, who else could it be? You guys. Ji Zhongming's eyes trembled and his face was full of fear. Do you want to ask why we're behind you when we've already left? Because we've never left at all. We just want to see if this is Ji Daxiong's idea alone, or if someone instigated it behind the scenes. The white-eyed wolf sneered. For lords, please show mercy. Hearing this, Ji Zhongming hurriedly knelt in the void, terrified. You're not as sensible as your grandson Ji Xiaowu at your age. Because he knows the basics of being grateful. The white-eyed wolf said. Ji Zhongming kowtowed and cried, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Please be merciful and give me a way out. We'll give you a way out, but have you ever thought about giving us a way out? The white-eyed wolf sneered and landed in front of Ji Zhongming with a palm. Lord, please spare my life. Ji Xiaowu's face changed and hurriedly stood in front of Ji Zhongming. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows and shouted, Get out of the way. No. He's my grandfather, I can't leave him to die. I beg the 4 lords, please give him another chance. I promise that we won't mention this matter again. Ji Xiaowu knelt and looked at the 4 of them pleadingly. You're very sensible and filial. But the world is so cruel. If we don't kill him today, he'll harm us tomorrow. He can only blame himself for this. The white-eyed wolf pushed Ji Xiaowu away, and the power of law appeared in his palm as he slapped at Ji Zhongming's head. No. Ji Xiaowu roared. This old man can't sit still and wait for death. Ji Zhongming also let out a fierce roar and retreated explosively. 5 ultimate profundities of supreme laws appeared, and he madly attacked the ingrate. At the same time, he opened a space-time passage and prepared to escape. You don't even have the will of the heavenly Tao, and you dare to be so presumptuous? The white-eyed wolf snorted. The ultimate law of death, the 18 layers of hell, appeared and the will of the heavenly Tao erupted. Just one ultimate law of death was enough to destroy Ji Zhongming's 5 ultimate laws without any resistance. This was the terrifying part of the will of the heavenly Tao. Those who had the will of the heavenly Tao and those who didn't were 2 completely different people. Following that, Ji Zhongming let out a shrill scream and died on the spot. His body and soul were destroyed. Grandfather, Ji Xiaowu was paralyzed in the void, his face full of despair and his body exuding a desolate aura. However, in just a short while, he had lost his father and grandfather. For someone of his age, it was undoubtedly a fatal blow. Chapter 44-43. Old Qin, this kid's character and character are not bad. Let's not kill him. Looking at Ji Xiaowu who was lying in the void in despair, he couldn't help but feel compassion. Qin Feiyong looked at Ji Xiaowu, his eyes flickering. Everyone understood the principle of cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots. Now they had killed Ji Daxiong and Ji Changming. More importantly, These two were Ji Xiaowu's close relatives. If they kept Ji Xiaowu alive, he might become a source of trouble in the future. Although Ji Xiaowu's character was indeed very good now, people's character would change when faced with great changes. It might even be distorted. Madman said, "Don't worry, if he really becomes a source of trouble in the future, I will personally get rid of him." "Alright." Qin Feiyong nodded. Madman looked at Ji Xiaowu and said indifferently, "Kid, take care of yourself. Life is not easy to come by. Only by living can you have a chance to welcome a better life." Hearing this, Ji Xiaowu looked up at Madman in a daze. "Goodbye, young man." Madman turned around and raised his arm. Without looking back, he waved and smiled before striding out of the Star River. Qin Feiyong and the white-eyed wolf also turned and left. "Ji Xiaowu, this chance to live is really rare. You must cherish it." The Sea Lion Demon King looked at Ji Xiaowu and said meaningfully. Then he turned and left. It was indeed not easy to survive in the hands of Qin Feiyong and the others. However, Ji Xiaowu wouldn't understand this sentence now. Only when he learned the true identity of Qin Feiyong and the others would he understand how lucky he was today. Outside the Star River, Qin Feiyong turned to look at Sea Lion and asked, "Where is Dong Hanzong's base?" "It is said to be in Hanzongqing." Sea Lion thought for a moment and said, "Hanzongqing? Dong Hanzong? Why are the names so similar?" Madman and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. "I heard that Hanzongqing is named after Dong Hanzong." The Sea Lion Demon King smiled. "How arrogant." Madman and the white-eyed wolf sneered. "Do you have the coordinates of Hanzongqing?" Qin Feiyong asked. "No. This prince has not been to every place." The Sea Lion Demon King shook his head. "What? You don't even know Hanzongqing? Are you a monster king for nothing?" Madman said with disdain. "Big brother, I have always lived in the Kunpeng Sea region. I rarely come to the continent, okay?" The Sea Lion Demon King was powerless. Madman said, "Then go find Ji Xiaowu and get the coordinates of Hansek City." "Why me? I'm not an errand boy." Sea Lion glared at Madman angrily. "Yo, your temper has risen, hasn't it?" Madman stared at the Sea Lion Demon King maliciously. No. Let's talk things over. It's my honor to run errands for you three big brothers. I'll go right away." The Sea Lion Demon Monarch chuckled and hurriedly turned around and ran into the Star River. "This guy really knows how to steer with the wind." Madman shook his head and smiled bitterly. "Only such a person can live longer." The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. The Sea Lion Demon Monarch was about to come to the coordinates. The four of them opened a space-time tunnel and directly descended above Hansek City. "It's quite big." Madman glanced at Hansek City and said in surprise. "Of course. After all, this is Dong Hanzong's base. Dong Hanzong is not only the strongest of the younger generation, but even the older generation has to retreat when they see him. Therefore, many people come here, hoping to get his favor and appreciation. Basically, as long as he values someone, they will have a promising future." The Sea Lion Demon Monarch explained. "I really didn't expect him to have such influence in the Central Dynasty." Madman shook his head. But thinking about it carefully, it's reasonable. With the universe domain, even big shots like the Kunpeng, the Dragon God, and Dong Qingyuan wouldn't be his match without a peak dominator divine weapon. This is enough to show his strength and status in the Central Dynasty. Qin Feiyong said. Madman and the white-eyed wolf nodded. "No." But suddenly, the Sea Lion Demon Monarch's pupils shrank. "What's wrong?" The three of them were shocked. The Sea Lion Demon Monarch scanned the city and said in a deep voice, "Look, why is there no one in Hansek City?" "Empty." Qin Feiyong and the other two were stunned as they scanned the entire city. Before they could react, there really wasn't a single person in such a huge city. What was going on? Could it be that they knew we would come, so they moved in advance? But in such a short time, it's impossible to move all of them. From the time they killed Dong Hanzong and the other two until now, it had only been a short while. Even if he had wasted some time killing Ji Zhongming, it hadn't been that long. How could it have become an empty city? Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed and said in a deep voice, "There is a way to move everyone in a very short time." "What way?" The three of them were suspicious. "Spatial divine item. As long as we put everyone into the spatial divine item, We can evacuate Hansek City as quickly as possible. But it doesn't make sense. The people of Hansek City didn't know we were coming at all. Why would they move in advance? Wait, could it be that Ji Xiaowu tipped them off? The white-eyed wolf was surprised. It can't be him. We got the coordinates from him and immediately rushed to Hansek City. If he tipped them off, even if everyone here entered someone's spatial divine item, they wouldn't be able to move in time. Madman shook his head. That makes sense. The white-eyed wolf nodded. What was going on? Clang! At the next moment, a sword light swept out from the city below, tearing through the void and the earth as it charged towards Qin Feiyang and the other three. The four of them were shocked and hurriedly looked over. They saw a golden sword light that emitted a sharp light that could destroy the world. Facing this sword light, even Qin Feiyang and the other two could feel a fatal crisis. Not to mention the sea lion demon king. His entire body was instantly shrouded in the shadow of death. And its speed was quite fast. It arrived in an instant. Qin Feiyang and the other three didn't even have a chance to fight back. Get out of the way. Without daring to hesitate, Madman pushed away Qin Feiyang and the other two, and the sword chi rushed over. Boom! Blood instantly dyed the sky red. Senior brother. Little Madman. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf roared. Whoosh! A wisp of evil aura swept out in front of Qin Feiyang. Go! At the same time, a thought was transmitted into Qin Feiyang's mind. It was Madman's voice. That's right. This wisp of evil aura was Madman's remnant soul. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent Madman's remnant soul to the Black Tortoise realm. Then, he swept up the white-eyed wolf and the sea lion demon king, activated the dual will of the heavens in instant time, and left without looking back. Where do you think you're going? Accompanied by a cold voice, space-time passages appeared in all directions, and one figure after another kept coming out. These people, men and women, old and young, wore different clothes but without exception, all of them had grasped the will of the heavens. So many people came to encircle us? Why does it feel like a trap? The white-eyed wolf's face couldn't help but turn pale. That's right. This is a trap. Before he finished speaking, another voice sounded. And this voice came from the broken Hansek city. Qin Feiyang and the other two turned their heads and saw a golden figure step into the sky. His face was blurry, and he wore a golden dragon robe and held a battle sword in his hand. The battle sword was about 1 meter long. Its entire body shone with golden light, as if it was made of gold. The sword hilt had a golden dragon engraved on it, and it emitted a terrifying sharpness. This is... Qin Feiyang and the other two stared at the golden battle sword, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. The aura of this battle sword had far surpassed a pinnacle sovereign weapon. Obviously, this was a legendary dominator divine weapon. This scene made Qin Feiyang and the other two's mood fall to the bottom. Legendary grade dominator grade divine weapons were no joke. A mid-level sovereign weapon was equivalent to 10 low-level sovereign weapons. A high-level sovereign weapon was equivalent to 100 low-level sovereign weapons. A pinnacle sovereign weapon was equivalent to 1,000 low-level sovereign weapons. A legendary sovereign weapon that surpassed the pinnacle sovereign weapon was equivalent to 10,000 low-level sovereign weapons. If one didn't have 3,000 incarnations, who could fight against a sovereign weapon of this level? Shua! Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at the man in the dragon robe. Since it was a legendary sovereign weapon, wasn't this person the emperor of the Central Dynasty? That's right. He's the emperor of the Central Dynasty. The sovereign weapon in his hand is called the Emperor's Sword. It's the only legendary sovereign weapon in the Central Dynasty. The Sea Lion Archfiend King said. Emperor's Sword, Emperor, Qin Feiyang murmured. What should we do? The people who are coming to surround us are all experts with will of the heavens from the top 10 families of the Central Dynasty. And from the looks of it, there are more people on the way. The Sea Lion Archfiend King panicked. Experts with will of the heavens from the top 10 families, Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at the people coming to attack them. These people were all dressed in luxurious clothes, and each of them had an extraordinary aura. I didn't expect you to be able to escape from the Kuanping Sea region without anyone noticing. Unfortunately, you won't be able to escape today. An old man in purple spoke. His will of the heavens erupted, and various ultimates appeared. Break out of the encirclement. Since the Emperor and the top 10 families already know that we are in Hanzhong City, then the 9th and 8th teams that are blocking the Kunping Sea region must have received the news as well. They will immediately come to support us. The white-eyed wolf said telepathically. They must not fight with these people, or they would be surrounded. Phew. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and looked at the Emperor. Although he had a lot of doubts, now was not the time to ask. Just as the white-eyed wolf said, they must break out of the encirclement immediately. Otherwise, they would be in a situation where there was only a slim chance of survival. Boom! 3,000 clones were activated. The law of life and death, the 6 supreme laws, and the dual will of the heavens erupted. The Emperor's pupils shrank when he saw this scene. Although this person was hateful, his strength was not to be underestimated. Even the Emperor's sword in his hand, which was a legendary sovereign weapon, could not compete with him. Chapter 44-44. At the same time, seeing this, the supreme experts of the 10 lineal families also looked a little flustered. Don't retreat. I have already informed the 9th and 8th teams of the Death God Army. They will be here soon to support. The Emperor said. That's right. We have already split our souls in advance. What are we afraid of? Even if we have to sacrifice our lives, we have to stop them. Someone from the 10 lineal families shouted. Right now, there were already more than 2,000 experts of the heavenly path who had rushed here. In other words, Qin Feiyang and the other two were surrounded by more than 2,000 experts of the heavenly path. Bang! Everyone immediately activated the will of the heavenly path and the ultimate profound meaning. More than 2,000 people with more than 10,000 ultimate profound meanings, it was quite terrifying. However, Qin Feiyang did not take it to heart. He who had 2 wills of the heavenly path and the ultimate profound meaning of the laws of life and death could completely crush them. True enough. When the 21,000 ultimate profound meanings of the 3,000 incarnations charged in all directions, it would be a devastating situation. The ultimate profound meaning of thousands of people of the 10 lineal families was as vulnerable as dead wood. So powerful. The power of the 2 wills of the heavenly path and the ultimate profound meaning of the laws of life and death shocked everyone present. Bang! Immediately after, Qin Feiyang's ultimate profound meaning was to kill the Emperor and the 10 lineal families. If there were no accidents, he would definitely be able to kill his way out. However, there were always some things in the world that went against one's wishes. You are indeed very powerful, but you are still ants in the end. The Emperor smiled contemptuously, and a wave of origin energy rolled out from his body. That's right. It was not a wisp. Nor was it a wisp. It was a wisp of origin energy. This wisp of origin energy was like a torrent, sweeping in all directions. Wherever it went, Qin Feiyang's ultimate profound meaning, be it the laws of life and death or the 6 supreme laws, were instantly shattered like rotten wood. Damn you! The white-eyed wolf cursed. How could they fight with so much origin energy? The 9th team of the Death God Army is here to help. The 8th team of the Death God Army is here to help. Right at this moment, accompanied by an earth-shattering battle cry, space-time tunnels appeared one after another, and 20,000 members of the Death God Army poured out like a tide. It's over. It's all over. The Sea Lion Demon King looked at this scene in horror. The Emperor, the Emperor's sword, the origin energy, the supreme experts of the 10 great clans, even the Death God Legion's 9th and 8th squads had rushed over. In the face of such a terrifying lineup, even if Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were heaven-defying, they would still die here today. Little Qin Zi, what should we do? Not to mention the Sea Lion Demon King, even the white-eyed wolf was scared. Although Qin Feiyang still had the Eye of Heaven, and although he also had the 4th innate ability, it was definitely not enough to deal with the origin power in the hands of an emperor. Qin Feiyang's eyes were also extremely solemn. He transmitted his voice, I can feel it. The inner demons are also coming this way. Even if the inner demons come, they won't be able to help us. White-eyed wolf thought to himself. If he didn't have the origin energy, he might have been able to break out of the encirclement if he joined forces with the inner demons and Big Cousin. But now, The origin energy in the hands of the emperor could wipe out all the hope in their hearts. Suddenly, angry voices rang out one after another. So it was you, the Demon King, who took them out of the Kunping Sea region. Preposterous! How dare you betray our Scandinavia and betray His Majesty? The Sea Lion Demon King looked in the direction of the voices. It turned out that they were the dozen or so people he met on the coastline. Emperor, it's this Demon King who took Qin Feiyang and the other two out of the Kunping Sea region. We were all deceived by him. The dozen or so people immediately looked at the emperor and said. Hearing this, the emperor looked up at the Sea Lion Demon King. Although the emperor's expression couldn't be seen, the Sea Lion Demon King could clearly feel a terrifying murderous intent. This made him even more terrified. Qin Feiyang let out a long breath, turned to look at the emperor and said, since we're going to die, let's die with an explanation. How did you know we were coming to Hanzhong City? It's all thanks to Dong Hanzhong, the emperor said. Dong Hanzhong? Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other. Wasn't Dong Hanzhong already dead? How was he going to inform the emperor? The emperor waved his hand, and a purple-clothed young man immediately appeared beside him. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at the purple-clothed young man in disbelief. If this young man wasn't Dong Hanzhong, who else could it be? You must be very surprised, right? I knew it. Haha, Dong Hanzhong laughed, his eyes full of sarcasm. What the hell is going on? The white-eyed wolf clenched his hands. At that time they clearly saw Dong Hanzhong die in the Star River with their own eyes. I have to admit that you guys are really powerful. You actually subdued the Demon King, and took you out of the Kunping Sea region without anyone knowing. If it weren't for my foresight, I would have died in your hands this time. Dong Hanzhong sneered. You left your divine soul in advance to save your life? Qin Feiyang frowned. Yes. Dong Hanzhong nodded. How did you know that the people in Qingfeng City were us? The white-eyed wolf was puzzled. I didn't know. Dong Hanzhong shook his head. You didn't know? If you didn't know, why did you leave your divine soul in advance? The white-eyed wolf's brows were tightly knitted. I think you misunderstood. I didn't leave my divine soul when I went to Qingfeng City, but when I learned that you broke into the Kunping Sea region, because I know your strength, and I also know that you want to kill me. If I let you leave the Kunping Sea region, you will definitely find a chance to deal with me. So when I learned that you broke into the Kunping Sea region, I had already split my divine soul to avoid being caught off guard. But I didn't expect that it would come in handy. Dong Hanzhong smiled. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. It turned out that this person had already split his divine soul at that time. They didn't expect him to be so cautious. He was really a difficult guy to deal with. When you killed me in Qingfeng City, I knew at that time that you would definitely not expect that I left my divine soul in advance. Moreover, according to my understanding of you, you will definitely eliminate the root of the problem in Hanzhong City. So I told His Majesty to set up this trap and wait for you to walk into it. As it turned out, you really didn't let me down. You came to Hanzhong City so quickly. Dong Hanzhong sneered. Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Hanzhong with a complicated look in his eyes. Putting everything else aside, Dong Hanzhong's mind was really admirable. If he could recruit him, he would definitely become his right-hand man and the biggest threat to the Divine Kingdom. Unfortunately, this person was too loyal to the Divine Kingdom. Indeed, he didn't expect that Dong Hanzhong would split his divine soul in advance, because on the surface they were still trapped in the Kunping Sea region, and this time they dealt with Dong Hanzhong in the name of the Monster King of the Kunping Sea region. So no one would expect that they were Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and the Golden-Winged Wolf King. But they didn't expect that this person had already left his divine soul when he learned that they broke into the Kunping Sea region. And now they were caught off guard. Now you know. You can die in peace. Dong Hanzhong sneered. Amazing. You are the most terrifying opponent I have ever faced in my life. Qin Feiyang nodded. Same to you. You are also the opponent I admire the most. Although we are in different positions, I am really happy to be able to fight with you for so long. Dong Hanzhong laughed. But he couldn't hide the smug look on his face. Last time in the 4 great continents he lost, and it was a crushing defeat. But this time he won. Furthermore, it was a complete victory. Swish! At this moment, two more figures appeared in the sky. Who else could it be but the inner demons and Lu Jijin? Dong Hanzong raised his head and looked at the inner demons, then looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two and said with a smile, "They are also here. You have no way to survive." So many people. After the inner demons and Lu Jijin arrived, they glanced at everyone present, and their expressions were slightly stunned. The white-eyed wolf looked at Dong Hanzong and sneered secretly. "Little brother, little Jean, come and help us. Are you kidding me? There are so many people. How can we help you?" The inner demons thought. What's going on? Aren't they usually smart? Why are they surrounded by the emperor now? How about this? Let's challenge them. Maybe we can find a chance to help them escape. Lu Jijin's eyes flashed, and he transmitted his voice to the inner demons. That's the only way. The inner demons sighed helplessly and looked at the emperor. This Qin Feiyang has tormented us in the 4 great continents. I can't take this lying down. Let me fight with him first. No, it's not easy to get this opportunity. We must get rid of them immediately. Before the emperor spoke, Dong Hanzong spoke first. Did I talk to you? Idiot, get out of my way. The inner demons immediately scowled and spoke without mercy. In his eyes there was no such thing as a peerless genius. They were all trash. You. Dong Hanzong immediately glared at the inner demons angrily. The emperor said lightly, Dong Hanzong is right. We can't drag this on. These people must be eliminated immediately. The inner demons raised his eyebrows. It seems that we can only fight to the death with them. Lu Jijin secretly snorted and transmitted his voice with a smile. Little cousin, are you ready? The moment we returned to the divine kingdom, we were ready to fight to the death. We just didn't expect it to come so soon. Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. Return to the divine kingdom? Lu Jijin was stunned and asked suspiciously, you went back? Yes. Not long after you returned to the central dynasty, we went back and also to the great Qin. Qin Feiyang secretly replied. Is everyone okay? Lu Jijin secretly asked. Everyone is fine. Everyone knows that you're not dead. They're very happy and looking forward to your return. Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. Hearing this, the demon couldn't help but think of many familiar figures. Her heart couldn't help but ache. She thought to herself, if that's the case, then we can't die here. We must all return alive. That's right. We must all go back alive. The white-eyed wolf clenched his fists. They had walked such a difficult path before. They could do it now. Chapter 44-45. The Emperor of the Central Dynasty, the top 10 families, the 2 squads of the Death God Army, the legendary Sovereign Divine Weapon, and the even more terrifying Origin Force. This lineup was enough to make anyone despair. The atmosphere was extremely heavy. The Sea Lion Demon King was so scared that his face turned pale. But Qin Feiyang, the inner demons, Lu Jijin, and the white-eyed wolf had endless fighting spirit in their hearts. Because they had a belief in their hearts. No matter how difficult it was, they had to survive. Die. Even the Heavenly King can't save you today. Dong Hanzong stared at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf and laughed. Bang! Accompanied by a terrifying aura, everyone around them activated their ultimate profound meaning. One had to know. There were more than 20,000 people here. Even if each person had 6 ultimate profound meanings, there were more than 100,000 of them. One could imagine how terrifying this momentum was. But the most terrifying thing was the Emperor's sword and Origin Force in the Emperor's hand. Especially the Origin Force. The terrifying lethality was almost suffocating. Let's fight. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath. 3,000 incarnations appeared. The white-eyed wolf also activated his battle soul. The lunatic's all-evil sword also suddenly roared out. In the sky, the inner demons also activated their Demon King True Body. Each Demon King True Body was 10,000 feet tall, like an ancient giant, with monstrous demonic aura. However, in the eyes of the Emperor and the others, the inner demons activated their Demon King True Body to help kill Qin Feiyang and the other 2. In fact, this was also the effect that the inner demons wanted. The reason why he had been hiding his identity was that he wanted to catch the Emperor and the others off guard with lightning speed. In this way he might be able to kill his way out. The battle was about to start. Bang! However, at this moment, a green foxtail fell from the sky. That's right. This was a green foxtail. However, this dog's tail grass was different from ordinary dog's tail grass. Its entire body shone with divine light, as dazzling as the scorching sun. Moreover, it exuded a destructive power. This is, Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf stared at the green foxtail with a trace of unconcealable surprise in their eyes, because they were all too familiar with the green foxtail grass. It was the Soteria grass that the mysterious young man often held in his mouth. What is this? The emperor and the others were bewildered. A single strand of green foxtail grass actually made them feel a great threat. The descendants of Qin Batian are not people you can bully at will. A lazy voice sounded. Following closely, the mysterious young man yawned as he walked out of the void. The snow python, which had long transformed into a divine dragon, also seemed to be infected. It laid on the young man's shoulder and looked sleepy. Qin Batian. The emperor enunciated each word clearly, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Dong Hanzong, one of the 10 direct descendants of the Dong clan, and 2 of their squads were also filled with murderous intent. Looks like we don't have to fight to the death. Lu Jijin smiled inwardly. The inner demons also had a hint of a smile in their eyes. They already knew the situation of this young man. As long as this young man made a move, all the problems would be solved. I didn't expect you all to know me. Looks like I'm quite famous in the Central Dynasty. The young man yawned. It seemed like he hadn't woken up for a day. Boom! And in the next moment, the green foxtail grass that was floating in the void suddenly shot out a dazzling 5-colored divine light. Origin energy. That's right. This was the origin energy hidden in the green foxtail grass. When this origin energy exploded, the world instantly fell into a dead silence. It was as if everything had stopped at this moment. In the next moment, this origin energy erupted with world-destroying might, crushing all the ultimate mysteries as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. One had to know. The ultimate mysteries of the 2 squads of the 10 direct descendants of the Dong clan added up to more than 100,000, and they all contained the will of the heavenly Tao. But such a terrifying number of ultimate mysteries was completely unable to resist the young man's origin energy. This showed how terrifying the young man's origin energy was. Finally, the young man's origin energy blasted toward the origin energy in the king's hand. They were both origin energy, but the moment they met, the difference in strength was obvious. The king's origin energy was shattered on the spot, and he had no power to fight back. So strong. The inner demons were dumbfounded. This was the first time the Sea Lion Demon King saw the young man make a move, and he was so shocked that he couldn't even close his mouth. This was too strong. He alone could wipe out thousands of troops. Boring. The young man shook his head and then waved his hand. All the origin energy quickly returned to the green foxtail grass like a tide. Immediately after, he held the green foxtail grass in his mouth, swept up Qin Feiyang and the other 2, and broke through the sky at lightning speed. When the emperor and the others came back to their senses, the group of 4 had disappeared without a trace. What are you all waiting for? Hurry up and chase after them. The emperor roared. Everyone quivered. They immediately activated the momentary time and chased after him madly. They were really shocked. This Qin Batian was just a descendant of the human sovereign. How could he have such a terrifying origin energy? The emperor's face was as calm as water. He looked at the inner demons and said in a deep voice, Lu Yuntian, you have 2 wills of the heavenly path. Go and help them. When we went to kill Dong Qingyuan, you came out to stop us. Now that we are in trouble, you want us to help. Why? The inner demons sneered. Now is not the time to throw a tantrum. The emperor shouted coldly. Humph! The inner demons snorted and reluctantly activated 2 wills of the heavenly path. In the momentary time, he swept up Lu Jijin and quickly broke through the sky. 2 wills of the heavenly path were indeed extraordinary. In just a few blinks of the eye, they overtook the 10 lineal families and the 2 squads. They ran at the front and kept closing in on Qin Feiyang and the other 3. The young man sensed the aura of the inner demons and said indifferently, Do you want to shake them off? No need. I have something to ask them. Qin Feiyang shook his head. However, Immediately, Qin Feiyang looked at the young man in a daze. Shake off the inner demons? This guy was talking in his sleep, right? The inner demons had two wills of the heavenly path. Even he didn't have the confidence to shake off the inner demons. Where did this young man get his confidence from? At the same time, hearing the conversation between Qin Feiyang and the young man, the Sea Lion Demon King was slightly stunned. He turned his head and looked suspiciously at the two inner demons who were chasing after them. Did these two know Qin Feiyang? After a while, the inner demons and Lu Jiajin caught up. That boy, we meet again, the inner demons said to the young man. The young man turned his head and looked away, as if he didn't know him. Still arrogant, the inner demons sneered. But this time it was all thanks to the young man. Otherwise, this battle would have boded ill rather than well. What's wrong with you? Why is Dong Qingyuan still alive and kicking? The white-eyed wolf asked secretly. There's nothing we can do. The emperor has been protecting him. At that time he even asked us to return the peak-level sovereign divine weapon to Dong Qingyuan. The inner demons were helpless. Although they were communicating secretly, they were always some distance away. What? Return it to Dong Qingyuan? We snatched it with our own ability. Why should we return it to him? The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. I definitely won't return it to him. You must be kidding. You want me to return it to him when it's already in my hands? Is that possible? The inner demon sneered secretly. Qin Feiyang asked telepathically, so now, have you gained the emperor's trust? Yes. Back in the 4 great continents, the show we planned was very successful. And because of his favoritism toward Dong Qingyuan, the emperor seems to feel a little guilty, so he's especially good to us now. He even wants us to rebuild the 10th team of the Death God Army. The inner demon sneered secretly. Rebuild the 10th team? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. That's right. The emperor has this plan. He also wants us to be the commander and deputy commander of the 10th team. The inner demon said. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he asked secretly, how much do you know about the Death God Army? Almost all of it. The situation of the 2nd and 10th teams is the same. Apart from the commander and deputy commander, there are 10,000 members. The inner demons said. Qin Feiyang was shocked when he heard this. It was indeed terrifying. What about the first team? The white-eyed wolf secretly asked. The first team only has 5,000 people. However, these 5,000 people have mastered all the ultimate profound meanings. The inner demon said in a deep voice. All the ultimate profound meanings? The white-eyed wolf was shocked. That's right. It's all the ultimate profound meanings except for the laws of light and darkness and the laws of life and death, the inner demon said. Including the ordinary laws? The white-eyed wolf was surprised. Nonsense. All the ultimate profound meanings naturally include the ultimate profound meanings of the ordinary laws. The inner demons rolled his eyes. This wolf cub's comprehension ability was really terrible. Damn. These people are amazing. The white-eyed wolf was shocked. Qin Feiyang secretly said, since we have already found out about the Death God Army, there is no need for you to continue to follow them. I think so too, but Big Cousin said that we should continue to lurk around the Emperor. Firstly, we can gather information. Secondly, we can wait for an opportunity to catch them off guard. The inner demons pursed his lips. Is there a problem with my suggestion? Lu Jiajin secretly laughed. I didn't say there is a problem. I just don't want to continue hiding like this. It's uncomfortable all over. The inner demons said. Actually, this is also good. Just like today, if you guys suddenly attacked, you can completely catch them off guard. Qin Feiyang secretly smiled. Don't just talk about us. How did you guys break into the Central Dynasty? The inner demons was suspicious. Even Dong Hanzong knows about this. Why don't you guys know about it? This made Qin Feiyang quite surprised. We have been in seclusion to integrate the ultimate profound meanings you gave us, so we didn't pay attention to the outside world. If it weren't for the Emperor personally sending us a message to come to Hanzong City to encircle and annihilate you guys, we wouldn't know that you have entered the Central Dynasty. The inner demons said. I see. Qin Feiyang suddenly smiled and explained, we entered the Central Dynasty with the help of Lin Yi, immediately. He briefly explained the situation to them. Chapter 44-46. I see. The inner demons and Lu Jijin were suddenly enlightened. They didn't expect that even Lin's battle soul had evolved. Are you sure that there is no eye of reincarnation in the Divine Kingdom? Qin Feiyang asked. During the period when we came back, we investigated this matter again. There is no such thing. Originally, we were wondering if it was hidden in the Death God Legion. But as we gradually understood the Death God Legion, there is no eye of reincarnation. Lu Jijin transmitted his voice. Strange. Where is this eye of reincarnation? Qin Feiyang frowned. This matter can't be rushed. We have to wait for the ancestor to appear and let him find it himself. It's a top priority. You have to strengthen your strength quickly. Especially you, Qin Feiyang. Having 3,000 incarnations and mastering one more profound meaning is equivalent to having 3,000 profound meanings in battle. The inner demons secretly said. These words were true. Qin Feiyang mastered one more profound meaning. 3,000 incarnations meant 3,000 profound meanings. Moreover, all of them had dual will of heaven's path. Combat power was doubled. I know. Now that our whereabouts have been exposed, and the situation of the Death God Legion has been investigated, we really have to go into seclusion to cultivate. Qin Feiyang nodded. The inner demons rolled his eyes and smiled. As for the Emperor, you can start with his daughter. His daughter. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were taken aback. Yes. For his daughter, he treasures her very much. The inner demons smirked. This is a good choice. Qin Feiyang murmured. Capturing the Emperor's daughter was equivalent to strangling the Emperor's neck. Not to mention making the Emperor compromise, at least he would be cautious. When facing them, he would also be timid. In addition, if you want to hide, you can go to Myriad Demons Valley. The inner demons said again. Myriad Demons Valley? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were taken aback. Myriad Demons Valley is a forbidden area in the Central Dynasty. Normal people wouldn't dare to set foot here. But for a madman, the Myriad Demons Valley might be heaven. The inner demons cackled. Heaven? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were even more confused. The Myriad Demons Valley was clearly a forbidden area. But why did this lunatic think it was heaven? You'll understand when you get there. After the inner demons finished speaking, he slapped his chest and spat out a mouthful of blood. He instantly entered a weakened state. Lu Jijin was the same. What's the situation? The Sea Lion Demon King looked at this scene in astonishment. He was not included in their conversation, so he was still unaware of the relationship between Qin Feiyang and the inner demons. Be careful. Qin Feiyang secretly instructed. He activated the dual will of the heavenly Tao in the instant of time and took the initiative to sweep up the young man, the white-eyed wolf, and the Sea Lion Demon King. He tore through the air without looking back. I finally escaped this calamity. Lu Jijin stopped in the void and said with a smile. However, this lesson has also served as a wake-up call for us. The inner demons' eyes flashed coldly. Dong Hanzong? Lu Jijin asked. That's right. This person is too big of a threat to us. We must find a chance to get rid of him. The inner demons' eyes flashed with killing intent. If they didn't get rid of him as soon as possible, this person would sooner or later become a disaster. After a long while, only then did the 10 great clans and the 2 small squads catch up with them. Where are they? A fat man with a big belly asked as he looked at Lu Jijin and his companion. This person was the commander of the 9th squad, Dong Qian. They ran away. The inner demons said lightly. Ran away? Don't you control the dual will of the heavenly Tao? How could you let them run away? Another middle-aged man spoke. This man was more muscular. He had a buzz cut and was more than 9 meters tall. He looked a little tough. And he was the commander of the 8th squad, Dong Kuan. Are you stupid? I have the dual will of the heavenly Tao. Does Qin Feiyang not have it? Moreover, that Qin Badian has the origin force. If we didn't act quickly, we might have died in the hands of Qin Badian. The inner demons looked at Dong Kuan coldly. Dong Kuan raised his eyebrows. The Emperor, that fool, shouldn't have let us chase after them. Why don't you think about it? Even his source origin energy is no match for Qin Badian, let alone us. Isn't this just courting death? The inner demon snorted coldly. The group of people was stunned. The emperor was a fool? How dare he say this? Although they agreed with the inner demon's words, asking them to chase after Qin Batian and the others was tantamount to courting death, they couldn't say such disrespectful words. Perhaps in the entire Central Dynasty, only this Lu Yuntian dared to be so presumptuous. Who are you calling a fool? Suddenly, an angry roar sounded. They saw the emperor holding the emperor's sword, angrily rushing over. Dong Hanzong also followed by the side. Greetings, Your Majesty. Everyone bowed one after another, not daring to make a sound. Only the inner demons and Lu Jijin didn't react. The two of them seemed to glance at Dong Hanzong intentionally or unintentionally. Dong Hanzong noticed the look in their eyes and couldn't help but feel a little flustered. I asked you a question, the emperor said angrily. Not only did they not catch up with them, but they also scolded him behind his back? This was simply outrageous. Did I say that? Dong Qian, Dong Kuan, and you old dogs of the 10 lineal families, did you hear what I said? The inner demons had an innocent look. Lu Yuntian, who are you calling an old dog? Don't be too presumptuous, I'll tell you. The old dogs of the 10 lineal families. No, the people of the 10 lineal families all glared at the inner demons. Whoever speaks is an old dog. The inner demons bared his teeth, not afraid at all. The people of the 10 lineal families all gnashed their teeth in anger. This was simply outrageous. They had no morals of respecting the old and loving the young at all. Seeing this scene, the emperor couldn't help but feel helpless in his heart. He loved and hated the inner demons and Lu Jijin at the same time. Their talent, methods, courage and perseverance were all top-notch, but only their character and temper were infuriating. Dong Qian, Dong Kuan, find them immediately. Even if we have to turn the Central Dynasty upside down, we must find them. Also inform Dong Qingyuan immediately, and ask him to bring the other teams back to support us. The emperor said in a deep voice. Yes, Your Majesty. Dong Qian and Dong Kuan bowed in response. The inner demons looked at the emperor and said, I'm not trying to pour cold water on you, but even if you find them, do you have a way to deal with Qin Batian? These words were testing the emperor's bottom line. If the emperor said that he had a way, it meant that he had other tricks up his sleeve. If he said that there was no way, then he could be completely relieved. You don't need to worry about whether there is a way or not. The emperor glared fiercely at the inner demons. He didn't answer directly, nor did he respond indirectly. No one knew what he was thinking. What? Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King have already broken into the Central Dynasty? No way. You're definitely not talking about Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King from the Sky Cloud realm, right? Nonsense. Besides the Sky Cloud realm, does our divine kingdom still have Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King? Is this true? Don't joke with me. In less than an hour, the major cities of the Central Dynasty were in an uproar. Everyone was talking about this matter. Who's joking with you? A friend of mine in Hanzong City just sent me a message. He said that Qin Feiyang and the other two not only killed Dong Hanzong's second uncle, Dong Tianxiang, but also almost killed Dong Hanzong. If Dong Hanzong hadn't set up a divine soul in advance to save his life, he might have been a corpse now. So powerful. Even Dong Hanzong wasn't their match? It's hard to believe, but it's the truth. The most exaggerated thing is that the emperor personally led the 10 major families and 2 small teams of the Death God army to encircle them in Hanzong City, but they still managed to escape. Damn! Are these people going to overturn the heavens? People were shocked. The prince personally led the 10 major families and 2 small teams of the Death God army, but they still couldn't kill these people. It was really hard to believe. Similarly, it was also because of the intrusion of Qin Feiyang and the others that the mysterious Death God army was exposed to the world. Now, many people in the Central Dynasty already knew about the Death God army. Green Wind City. What did you say? Ji Xiaowu sat by the lake looking sad, but suddenly, a maid came to find him and told him the news outside. He immediately stood up, turned around and stared at the maid, his eyes full of shock. I don't know if it's true or not, but now everyone outside is talking about it. The maid said. I really didn't expect. It's them. Ji Xiaowu murmured and looked back at the calm lake. What was even more unexpected was that Dong Hanzong was still alive. He finally understood what the sea lion monster king had said before he left. It was really true. It was not easy for him to survive in the hands of Qin Feiyong and the others. The maidservant asked, "Young city lord, are we going to take care of this matter or not? Intervene? Tell me, how should we intervene?" Ji Xiaowu laughed at himself. The maid said, "Assist the Death God army to find their whereabouts." Assist the Death God army? Ji Xiaowu shook his head and stared at the lake for a moment. Suddenly, as if he had made a difficult decision, he turned to the maid and said, "Tell everyone to disband from now on." "What? Disband?" The maid was slightly stunned and looked at Ji Xiaowu in surprise. "Yes, disband. There's nothing I can do. If we don't leave now, Dong Hanzong will definitely find trouble with us. At that time, not only will I suffer, but you will also suffer with me. Concealing our identities and living in seclusion in the mountains is our best choice." Ji Xiaowu sighed. "But, you didn't know the identity of these three people before. Even if they find out, they can't convict you." The maid frowned. "You're too naive. Does Dong Hanzong need a reason to deal with us? Let's go. There are a lot of resources in the warehouse. Tell everyone to take some. After all, you have been in the city lord's mansion for many years." Ji Xiaowu clenched his hands and promised, "If I can rise in the future and become an overlord, I will find you and bring you back." "What about you?" The maid looked at Ji Xiaowu. "Me?" Ji Xiaowu looked up at the sky and smiled. "The Central Dynasty is so big. There must be a place for me." You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.